Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new series that I'm doing. I'm calling it Card Corner, where we talk about card games, card game design, distribution, philosophy, basically anything inside baseball as far as card games goes. Today, we're having a look at Cobblecritters, a new card game, soon to be on Kickstarter, and I have with me one of the devs.
Hi.
Uh, Introduce yourself, if you will.
Uh, okay, I am Garchompula. I am the artist of the game. Pretty much all of the art that you see on the screen, the rules, any of the cards, all that stuff was all drawn by me.
Awesome. Hello, Uzoa. It's going well. So yeah, we're going to take a look at Cobblecritters. I think the other devs should be on here soon as well. So yeah, let's go over to the game scene and take a look at Tabletop Sim, where we have the setup.
You want
So,
to just do like a starter game, just to warm up?
yeah, let's do that. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to show off the game, and then we're going to get into some discussion. Um, but yeah. So here's the
So,
basic board. We have the
oh, do
uh,
you want me to introduce it to the audience?
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so where exactly? Okay, so you're looking right here.
Mm-hmm.
So in this game, there are two main areas of gameplay. You got the hideout, which is your basically your safety area.
Mm-hmm.
This is the area that most of the time your enemy cannot attack. So as a result, this is the area where you'd heal, upgrade without, and all that kind of fancy jazz without any fear of actually getting attacked. This is the caverns. The caverns are your main war zone area.
Mm-hmm.
Caverns' main focus are mining for gems and eliminating your enemy's critters. So, if you want, we can do a starter game to sort of show off how the game works.
Yeah. So I've checked this out on my own time. I have to say, it's a fun game. Um, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so Ian, what deck would you like to play? We got a couple
Ooh.
here.
So I've played the Nova deck and the Healing deck so far.
Okay, so so to give a rundown for any chat members, if they want to possibly vote,
Mm-hmm.
so the basic idea is Hunter is your standard sort of attacking deck. A lot of people like it because it's really flashy.
Mm-hmm.
Stalwart is your more defensive playing deck. Healing is exactly what it sounds like.
It's right on the tin.
No, Nova is your. How do I best describe Nova? It's cards centered around a really powerful card called Nova Blast, and basically making it the best it could possibly be. And these other
Aha.
two are empty because they really sucked.
I did not draw Nova when I was playing the Nova deck, and I was wondering what the point of the deck was.
Oh, he might have. I think Jimmy changed the name. He changed the name to like Kaiju Candy or something along that line
Mm. But yeah,
because it
I
wasn't
was,
really a blast.
yeah. But yeah, I had fun with the healing deck for sure. Um, I could also try one of the decks I haven't played yet.
It's your pick.
Um,
Chat, what do you think?
what do you think, chat? What do you think? If
Oh,
there's enough
Hero, he
chatters.
just he joined our server earlier. That's pretty cool.
Aha. Um, let's see. If chat doesn't have any opinions, I think I'll go with Hunter. I have yet to play an aggro deck in this
I'm gonna
game.
try Nova because up until this point I have done pretty much exclusively healing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just got a text from Jimmy saying, "Christ, Austin, I'm eating lunch."
Oh crap! What am I doing? Oh, don't draw the cards. Pick it up. Oh, you're about to see how bad I am at tabletop sim specifically. Uh, there we go. Turn. There. I think that's upside down. There we go.
Yeah, the way to tell is by the C on the cards.
Yeah. All right, and then we will shuffle them up.
Oh, hi Zachary, how's it going? Zachary is a cobble enthusiast.
Uh-huh.
He is always looking for more people to fight if you're down.
Heck yeah. Glad to see people showing up from the Discord. Feel free to give a follow if you like, but definitely stick around because we're going to have a really cool discussion, I think.
Okay,
All right.
so in order... Oh my god, now the dogs start barking.
It's perfectly
Okay.
fine.
Okay, so in order to start the game, you're going to want to draw 6 cards into your hand. And this game is unique in the sense that, Cody, hey, shh, I'm on stream. So this game is unique in that you can draw 6 cards of either deck you would like. Usually in a game like Pokemon, when you draw a card, it's a potluck of whether you get a Pokemon or you get a special card or whatever. In this game, you can choose. So if you want to have the starter deck or the starter hand be 4 specials and 2 critters, you can, although that sounds very bad as a starter hand.
Yeah.
It's completely up to you.
I will say my first game, I mixed up which deck was which. I drew 4 specials and 2 critters, and I was like, oh no. This is unplayable. Let's see here. We'll grab, yeah, I think that's a pretty good 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll grab 2 of these.
In your starting hand, you are allowed a mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are allowed to discard as many cards as you like and then redraw them, but just keep in mind, it's only 1 mulligan, so like, if you get worse cards a second time, too bad, so sad.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to balance a mulligan system. I think Magic the Gathering at one point had an infinite mulligan system, which was obviously an issue. Because you could just keep going until you had exactly the right combination of cards. Let's see here.
So one thing that makes this game very, very interesting is that there is no decking out system, to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So when both of your discard piles are full, so that means that if your specials are full, then you're going to have to use up your critters. So when both of your discards are full, you simply reshuffle them into a new hand.
Aha.
And people really like that because it leads to a lot more aggressive play. So you got the hand you like?
Yeah, I think I do like this hand.
Okay. So do you want to go first, or would you like me to go?
How about you go first, and then you could explain the turn, like setup, you know.
So for the first turn, whoever goes first only has 1 action. That's going to be important in a sec. So the basic idea of this game is you have 2 actions, and actions are certain abilities that critters can do. One of them is summoning onto the field. So I am going to summon this 1 Cookbook.
Mm-hmm.
They come in exhausted, meaning that they can't do anything else. Then I'm going to attach this Sentry Sapling. Sentry Sapling. If you ever play Pokemon, it's sort of like tool cards in that you attach them to the critter, and it's stuck on the critter unless it says so otherwise. So, for example, if you hold Alt, you can see the card up close.
Yep.
Sentry Sapling specifically says that if they get attacked, then you discard and you heal for 2. So it acts as a little guard for them.
Yeah, and it works like the berries in Pokemon.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. So there is nothing else I can do on this turn. So it is your turn now.
All right. And then I get 2 actions.
Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi.
Let's see here. We're gonna start with a Ball Lion. Ball Lion comes in. It has the keyword dash.
That's the dash ability. Dash basically means that cookbook thing where he comes in exhausted, he just doesn't do that. So you can pull him up into the cavern if you want.
Yep. And do we want to do that? So, there's another thing we could also do. Yeah, I think we're going to do it because I have another action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and upgrade to the next level because we have one with dash.
Oh God.
So Blazing Boat also has the dash. Upgrading takes an action and exhausts. Well, it exhausts because you summon a monster.
But he has dash.
Yes, you can only upgrade a non-exhausted monster. So that's why using the one with the dash was important there. So that gets us up there, and that'll exhaust our creature.
Fun.
That's aggro. And with that, I think we will end our turn.
Okay, so you end your turn, unexhaust,
Yep, we'll
and then
unexhaust.
you redraw whichever cards you like until you have 6 cards.
We'll draw a couple.
Okay. So first things first, I'm going to move this guy up onto the board. Now, one thing to note is moving does not take an action, but it still exhausts him regardless. So once I move him up, there's nothing he can... Crap. I just realized I have a blazing boat. I could have upgraded him and then moved him in. God damn. Okay, I'm going to play this cookbook. I'm going to give him a sandcastle circlet. I'm going to discard Nova Blast. That is all I can do right now. My turn is over.
All right. So then it's my go. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're going to bring out Picassamelian, which also has dash.
God damn, everyone in your deck has dash.
Yeah. We're gonna move him out, tapping him, and then I think we're going to. Yeah, let's go ahead and do some damage, and then your item will heal it.
Okay, so how much damage are you going to do?
So that we're going to do, it's 1 damage. Or no, you don't have you have special defense. Okay, we should talk about the way damage works here.
Okay, so there's 2 types of attack and defense in this game: special attack, special and magical. So the best way to tell them is by their color. Physical is red, magic is purple. So the basic idea is when a critter attacks with a certain color and it lines up with the defense of the same color, then that means the defense applies. So for example, who did you attack with?
Attacking with the boat.
Okay, so the blazing boat has 2 red attack or 2 magic. However, hi Jimmy.
Hey.
Hello.
However, Cookbook has magical defense, which basically means that in this case, his defense just does not work in this scenario, and he attacks for the full 2 damage. So I'm going to deal 2 damage. Oh, what? 2 damage. However, Sentry Sapling, since our little Sentry Sapling protected us from this, I can discard Sentry Sapling and pick up these 2, and he is right healthy once again.
Yep. And attacking can be any of the like the 3 in front of them, unless they have
so
range,
basically
in
a
which
T shape.
Yeah, unless they have range, in which case they could hit any of them.
Oh yeah, last game, a guy set up a cactuar with ranged, and he buffed it to all hell, and then put it in the corner.
Yeah.
We love a winning strategy here.
Yeah, when I was playing with my friend, they were like, I don't understand range. It's like, the idea is you put it in the corner, not in the middle rows.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. I've heard a lot of conflicting opinions about. For those who aren't familiar, I'm the designer for the game, Jimmy Swift / Miller Hollinger, and Garch is the artist.
Yeah.
So, what I was saying though is, yeah, we it's really curious about ranged because we have had a lot of people, and I think this is a good thing. We've had a lot of people say ranged is ridiculous. They're like, it's too easy to control the entire caverns. You don't need to move. You don't have to worry about positioning. And then I've also had a lot of people say range is useless. It does nothing for you. It is super situational. There's no point in running it. And it's really funny because I mean, when it just comes down to like balancing a card game in general, you get so many of those.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you do in that scenario? You know? I mean, the hardest question when it comes to like balancing these cards is number one, is a card actually strong? And that's a bit easier to figure out. Like, okay, does everyone run it? Does it clearly give them positive value? Stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like, one card we've been
Ruby
talking about a lot.
Cutlass.
Big, yeah, yeah, beat me to it. We've had this card recently that's been making the rounds up and down. Ruby Cutlass. Ruby Cutlass gives your critter attack +1. It's a trinket, and every time they attack, you earn a crystal. And then if they're defeated, your opponent gets 2 more. So the idea is, well, on average, your critter is going to attack twice and then get defeated. So on average, it's going to be, even Steven value for everyone. But the problem is that there's this card in the game called Interfury, and then there's a critter called what is it, McMoray, and both of those give your critter double strike, which means they can attack twice at once, which
Ah.
throws all of the math off. And so we have people who are running Ruby Cutlass and are just printing money with it,
Oh wow.
and it's really difficult because it's like, well, technically, on average, the card should be fair, but the
Yes.
reality is that it isn't. And so the question of, is a card too strong? Well, oftentimes that's pretty easy to see. Now, the harder question is, should a card be strong?
Mm.
Because obviously you want to have cards in the game that feel powerful and exciting to play. And, not everyone can be a winner, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. I mean, if you look at Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you look at Magic the Gathering cards,
Yeah,
um,
some of them suck.
yeah, there
Yes.
there are bad
There's lots of
cards.
pack filler.
Yeah, and yeah, right. But the thing is that we're a bit different because we're not really. I mean, we're a deck building game, but you
Hmm.
get all the cards at once, so we don't really need to have pack filler. A lot of
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, they do that because they need to fill the packs.
Hmm.
But that's not really a concern for us. So we kind of have to approach things differently. And so then when we get to the question of should this card be strong, it gets a lot more difficult. Like oh, sorry, am I am I ranting on too much? Do you guys want to just
No, no, this
catch
is
up with your
perfect.
game?
I want to. This is.
All right, all right.
This
We're
is
gonna get more
exactly
into
what he
this.
wanted out of a stream.
We're gonna get more into
Okay.
this later, but yeah, this is
Cool,
perfect.
cool. But like there's this one card, Sentry Sapling, and a lot of people argue that it's the strongest card in the game. All it says is it's a trinket, and when the critter with it equipped is damaged, you heal 2 health to them, and then you discard the trinket.
Hmm.
And that's really good. It's like a 2 health shield. And a lot of people are like, well, this is just plainly the best card in the game. It's like a temporary health +2, and I mean it goes away, but I mean sometimes that's all you need to keep your critter alive.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people agree that that is one of the strongest cards in the game. But at the same time, I'm a bit concerned about nerfing it. I don't think we actually should nerf it. I think a lot of people would agree
Hey,
about that.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
I am personally under the belief,
Mm.
especially in stuff like fighting games, that a bad character isn't particularly bad. It's just a lot harder to use effectively. I mean, don't get me
Mm.
wrong,
Yeah.
there are some characters that are like specifically terrible,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
in a lot of especially, and I think this applies to Sentry Sapling as
Hmm.
well. Because Sentry Sapling, his whole idea is that you can apply it to any card in any situation and it will work just as effectively.
Hmm.
And I think that's why people think it's so strong, because
Hmm.
there is no real downside to it. It's like a lot of these really strong cards you need to really think through how to use it. But Sentry
Sapphire
Sapling,
Spear. Yeah.
yeah, Sentry Sapling, you just plop on down, and bada bing, bada boom, you have a 2 health shield.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly strong per se.
It's
It's
just.
more
It's just
so its utility is
Yeah.
so
yeah.
unanimously good.
But that's the thing, right? It's like, and in some games that would be a problem. But
Yeah,
the thing is, it's just um
that's
like
not exactly an
our
issue.
well, yeah, but the thing is, we want to encourage, we want critters to stay alive. You'll notice in this game there aren't any cards that say just defeat an enemy critter, just flick it off the
Yeah.
table. And that's because we kind of want players to and this might sound a little bit, kind of gushy, but we kind of want our players to get attached to the critters they have, right? We want them to, I upgraded it, I moved it around, I gave it this trinket, and I'm ready for it to go into battle. You spend time doing that. And so it wouldn't feel right, in my opinion, to just have one of them vanish.
Yeah.
Especially, and so what we want to encourage players to get up in the caverns and get into combat, not just flick off cards from their hand and delete enemy critters. And so letting a critter just have a 2 health shield, well, that actually encourages that. So maybe it's okay if that's a card if it moves the game in the direction that we want it to be moved in.
Yeah. And like to make this like applicable
Yeah.
to my usual Yu-Gi-Oh audience, like Fluon Deriz is a pretty easy deck to play against most people. Really hard to play well, but like pretty easy for most. So like people think it's good, but it's actually not all that great because it's easy to play around if you know what the deck does. But a lot of people just don't know what the deck does. But you have decks like DDD where people were playing it wrong entirely, like because they were thinking it's a combo deck when really it should be a control deck. And so you just have like some decks are considered weak because they are being played wrong in a way. But if a deck is you can easily see how to play it, or a card is like, oh, I know how to play this. It's simple.
Right. I think that's what Garch was saying too. It's like the actual power level and the perceived power level are different, but we can only see the perceived power level because that's all we've got, right?
Yeah.
We can only see what we can see, so
we can only see the shadows on the cave.
Right, yeah, exactly, right? It's like, there's an idea.
Philosophy.
Yeah, really. It's like there's an idea of what, Ruby Cutlass is supposed to be, and then there's what we actually see. And the question is what we're seeing and what it actually is, are those close, or are they different? Does it need to be changed? And so it ends up being as you might imagine, like a pretty seriously difficult question. But I mean, it's also part of the fun of making a card game. And I mean, if you're a person in a community and you're sharing your ideas on a game like this, it's really cool because just hearing everyone's different perception helps us get closer to what it really is,
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to end my turn, by the way. The 10 million year turn. But yeah, no, this is like that's exactly it. I mean, and like that's like the coolest thing about a card game is the fact that you get a bunch of people trying to break cards that you didn't imagine could be broken.
Tell them what Hasher did.
Wait, Hasher. Wait, what was Hasher's
Didn't
combo?
Hasher like break the game?
No. Zackert made a combo, and then Poke used that combo to then break the game.
Amazing.
So Zackert made a combo with this card, Samaranted. Wait, Garch, would you like to talk while you're doing your turns? Because I know sometimes it's like some people are okay just doing their turns silently, but if I'm talking over you. Okay.
I'm literally just putting down Blazing Boat. It's fine.
Okay. But where was I? So it was really funny. So the combo was this card, Samaranted, where whenever an adjacent ally is damaged, you get to do 1 damage to any enemy. And there was a card, Sasquatch, where whenever it's damaged, you get to heal 1 health to another ally. So Samaranted used to say that you could do 1 damage to any critter, including even the critter who took the damage or another allied critter. Yeah. And so you would essentially have multiple Samaranted and then use Sasquatch in order to print 10 damage every turn and then throw it at your opponent.
I actually was playing the healing deck and was doing something similar to that. Obviously, I think the errata had already been in place by the time I was playing. But like that, I was doing I was like, wow, if I could do it like that, like this would be crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny because we talked about the perceived power level of a card, and it's like sometimes no one can see the real power level of the card because it's only as good as it can be, or as overpowered as it can be in a certain context. Such as next to a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
By the way, I finished my turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna think on this.
Okay, no worries.
But yeah, this card game, it feels like ripe for doing combos like this, but like not to the point of a Yu-Gi-Oh. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be taking 10 minutes to do my board setup that you can't break.
Yeah. And that is definitely intentional. the game as a whole, as you might guess by the art style, is meant to be friendly to a wide range of ages.
Yeah.
And so, as you can imagine, it's pretty easy to just sit down and just kind of play big guys and read off the card and just do what it says and have a good time. But if you want, you can also try and pull off, some more wacky stuff as well. Wow, the blazing boat convention.
I love Blazing Boat. It's so good. I could be entirely wrong about that. I actually do want to ask you about the meta at some point, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tiddlywinks joined and said Le Wiener has arrived.
The Navy.
Let's see. So evolving is a move and attacking is a move. Maybe that wasn't actually the best play either.
Except moving isn't a move. Well, action,
yes.
Whatever.
Yeah, an action. That would be a way. That's the way to keep it clear is to use the term action instead of move. Let's see here. I guess we'll tap a boat to hit a boat.
Okay, so chat, because of the fact they have 2 attack and I have 1 defense, 2 minus 1 is 1, so they hit for 1 damage.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to activate this as well.
Oh god, what did you put down? Cavern Revolution. Deal damage to a critter in each hideout. There is no critter in any caverns.
Well, it's an
or
event.
In any hideout.
I think he's just trying to stop you from playing a critter next turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No critters, please.
Or free damage.
No more
Fortnite. And also gets
oh my
a card out
god,
of my hand.
I only just got the joke behind Vengeful Wanderer.
Don't tell anyone.
Well, now I know they have a Vengeful Wanderer in their hand.
Well, you're gonna know anyways. And yeah, I think I'll end on that and draw cards.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a question. This is like advanced rules, I suppose. When you're drawing cards, do you have to be like, I'm going to draw 2 from this one and 1 from this one and then draw? Or can you be like, okay, I draw 1 from here, and that changes my decision on what I'm going to draw next?
Yeah, good question. You actually are allowed to draw 1 at a time.
Okay.
And if that wasn't clear in the rules, then I need to update that. We're updating the rules anyway, so good time to say it.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, okay. We'll do 1 more from here. Perfect. And we'll draw. Okay.
So
awesome.
on the subject of card balance, I think it might be a bit fun to talk about some suggested changes to cards and go through kind of what our thought process is when we get suggestions like these.
Definitely.
So the hot topic right now, we've got 2 cards that are being debated for nerfs. The first one is Ruby Cutlass, as Garch said as soon as I got here.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is our old large plant friend Cactal. So sorry. I'm sorry, Garch. We've decided to nerf Cactal so hard that you are being deleted in real life.
No!
We've decided, Garch, we will be removing one of your arms in order to make it hard to draw more Cactal, so there'll be less of them. So, Ruby Cutlass. So, we pretty much just it all starts with people playing games, and then someone says something in our game feedback channel where they're like, "Hey, this card is too strong," and then everyone just kind of throws in their opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously,
it's very easy to just throw in opinions.
Yeah, I mean, and that is kind of funny. Like when I say throw an opinion, right? Like if you're talking about Wizards of the Coast, or if we're talking about Konami, they have statistics. They have teams of playtesters, and they will test every card and mathematically calculate a win rate for each card, and that'll let them know how good the card is mathematically. Now, as the meta develops, they might find out that it's better or worse, and that's why they have errata.
Yeah.
And
the ban list.
Yeah, and the ban list. Yeah. But in
Thanks
our
for
case,
dropping by, Tiddlyminks.
yeah. See you, Tiddly. But Yeah, but I mean, as far as our playtesting goes, I mean, as my guess, we don't exactly have that, and we have a lot of people
Oh,
who are
I should
down to
untap
give
that.
opinions, but we don't exactly have a spreadsheet of statistical win rates. And as my
Jimmy,
guess, yeah, what's up?
sorry to interrupt, but Cavern Revolution has ended.
Yep.
No one got hurt.
And the
Okay, yep.
revolution, and no one gets hurt.
Continue, Mr. Jimmy.
But of
Mhm.
course, Sir Austin. So, like I was saying, um, and so when it comes to us balancing cards, we just kind of have to feel things out, and that can make things harder. But I mean, it kind of means that we're always in that watching the meta develop phase and see what the truth is. Um, so that's kind of why, even though that we've got much fewer cards than a lot of card games do, and that the rules and combos are a lot simpler than a lot of games, we've still been balancing for a year and change, like a year and a half, year and 8 months, but we've still got more balancing to do just
Mhm.
because, everything we're kind of trying to feel out everything all the time.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting pretty close. We've still got a couple more problem cards, but I think we're nearly on it.
Yeah.
But circling back to Ruby Cutlass, so the main thing that's really made our balancing difficult is it's just kind of a domino effect, because whenever we change one card, that's going to affect how powerful every other card is in relation to it.
Yeah, that's one thing
Um,
I noticed.
yeah,
You can't really, like, for example, you can't buff a 1-star because you're going to be playing a 1-star throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
right,
not like Pokemon where you sort of just throw it away and forget about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, and so it's kind of related because see, in the past, the game used to contain a copious amount of burst burn damage from hand. So you would just play. There was a card Nova Blast that you would just play. Old Crabalanche. Wait, you got Double Strike?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got Double Strike from Inner Fury.
Unbelievable Interfury player. Now we have to Interfury too because Garch plays it. But yeah, like I was saying, so um with in relation to like Ruby Cutlass. So Ruby Cutlass used to be a lot worse because of all this burn damage. You used to be able to throw cards out of your hand and delete your opponent's critters.
Hmm.
And Ruby Cutlass was a lot worse because of that, because you would, if your opponent played something with Ruby Cutlass, you would just direct your constant stream of burst damage onto it, and it wouldn't even get to attack sometimes, or it would only get to attack once or twice, and so you would oftentimes, very often, just go even in value. And having it stay
Hmm.
alive long enough to get the more than 2 crystals worth of value out of it, which would mean that you would not just break even with your opponent, that was actually really rare.
Yeah.
And so, um, but then what we did is we slowed down and we said, maybe burst damage isn't actually that fun. It doesn't feel great to have your opponent throw stuff out of your hand. You can't do anything about it, and all of your guys are gone. So we slowed everything down. Crabalanche, for example, it used to be a hijinks that activated the second you played it. It only did 2 damage to all critters in the cavern, but we would have moments where people would have triple Crabalanche in hand and would wipe their entire opponent's field, and it
Ah.
just felt awful.
Yeah.
So now we've changed it to an event. We buffed it by 1 damage, but it's slower. Your opponent has time to get out of the way before it goes off. People agree that they like that more, but of course, the effect of reducing all of this burn damage is now, you know, uh, cards that used to be bad because of burn damage are now suddenly a whole lot better.
Yeah.
And so, with Ruby Cutlass, where that card was balanced by the fact that, hey, your guy with Ruby Cutlass could go missing at any point. Well, suddenly it's a whole lot better because it's going to be a lot harder for your opponent to take it down. I mean, they have to probably attack to
Mhm.
break it. But if they're stepping up to attack and Ruby Cutlass benefits from you attacking, well, cream gravy, you're both in range of each other. So that means that you both get to hit each other and you get all the value.
Okay. I'm going to summon him. He's got dash. And we're going to
Mm.
summon the Toxosaurus.
I think this entire process is very, very interesting
Mm.
because it's one of those things where it's like it's very easy to go, this card is broken, this card stinks.
Yeah.
But then you go, okay, how would you fix it?
Yeah,
And then
or
they just
even
go,
or
well,
like just taking it
right.
into a different situation, and all of a sudden the roles are
Yeah.
reversed.
Yeah, exactly. Like
There's so
one
many
card.
cards that it's like they absolutely suck. But
Yeah,
it's like, okay, try it in a different sense.
Yeah.
right.
On summon effective
Nobody
tap the
touches
sword.
Bugler, but I
Bonus.
saw a guy whoop absolute ass with it.
Yeah, and and then I was talking the other day with I was playing with Karen Lee, and I talked with him after the stream, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to run 3 of this in every deck I ever play." And just back to the, how do you tell if something is good? How do you tell if something is bad? If something is good, does it need to be buffed? If something is bad, does it need to be, or something that's good doesn't need to be nerfed, bad, buffed? I mean, that's really the core question, and those questions about does it need to be buffed and does it need to be nerfed, those are a game attitude question. How do you want the game to feel? Do we want the healing to be prevalent? Do we want fast burst damage to be prevalent? And answering these questions, I mean, you have like a design for the game, but then the cards make the game.
Yeah.
The design is just kind of the skeleton you put the flesh on. You can create any sort of creature based on how you decide to make them.
Yeah. And like that's the joy of card games.
Really, it really is, and I think that's what makes building a deck so fun. I mean, obviously, I think I would hope that people find building a deck to be fun in our game, but just in games in general, building a deck is fun because you get to be in the same shoes as the game designer for a little bit. When you have to sit down and say, is this card good enough? Is this card not good enough? Will this work with the other ones? Do I need to run 3 of these, or can I get away with 1 of them?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what's made this whole experience so fun, because all of us are building our decks, but we're also building the game. So I think we kind of have a multi-layer way, and it's kind of special because once the cards are done, they're done, and people in the future who play the game, they're only going to get to see the deck side of things.
Yeah.
So I think this short time we have to balance the cards and play it at the same time, I think is
It's my turn. I didn't even
think
notice.
is really special.
Yeah.
Garcher getting crabalanched.
Yeah, it really is like you don't get that kind of thing with Magic the Gathering. You're not part of the test process, and here we are, like basically you have this community who's able to help you balance the game in a way that the community likes. So it's not just, oh, we thought this was good. It's like everyone thought this was good. And then they can't yell at you, although they will, but they can't.
Okay, let's see.
I think it's a very unique situation, not one you see very often.
I'm going to attack your blazing boat for 3 damage.
Here, I'll grab this one. Boop.
All right. My turn is over.
Alrighty. So yeah, I hope chat is getting an understanding of how the game's working here while we wordlessly move cards around.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is pretty interesting. It's like a little podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea I wanted to have with this. I find card game just like everything about it fascinating, like the inside baseball of it, just like incredibly fascinating. So let's resolve Crabalanche now, I believe. Countdown of 1 round.
Oh, I didn't even notice there was a Crabalanche on the field.
I said it out loud.
I thought you were joking because you always joke about that kind of stuff.
I don't joke about Crabalanche. Crabalanche is a serious natural disaster that you need to be properly informed of through government channels.
You're always like, Gart, you're going to get the band sticker, something along that line.
I'm putting the band sticker on your Crystallion's forehead.
Okay, so let's see. So my Faring is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Just outright, even with the little trinket to keep him alive because I wasn't paying attention. He's just dead.
Ah, a blunder.
My blazing boat is dead.
No, it's not. Just 3 damage, yeah?
3 damage?
Yeah, but he already had 3 damage on top.
That's 1 damage, isn't it?
I thought it was 1 damage.
Wait, how much? Oh, that is 1 damage.
Guards, you've spent too much time talking to Yu-Gi-Oh players. Now you can't read either.
Okay, so now he has 4.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy has 4 as well.
All right,
And
my
now you're
blazing boat is going to go.
Bye-bye.
And that'll activate the Vengeful Wanderer.
Yes.
Do you want to do it on Blazing Bow or do you want to do it on Crystallion?
Let's...
I believe that means...
put it on Crystallion.
Hold up. So the Fair Ring was destroyed, so that's 1 crystal, and then Blazing Boat was destroyed, so that's 2 crystals for Garch.
Did you get the crystals from the first blazing boat you destroyed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, did I?
Did I? Did you?
It doesn't seem you have any.
Don't look. I don't see any over there.
Okay, so how many do I have?
So that would be
4.
4. Yeah, four boats or 2 boats, 4 crystals.
I'm doing great for someone who's been browsing Pokemon on the...
Yeah, just the whole stack.
Oh wait. Okay, when you're looking for
the whole
you're looking...
I'll take the lot.
When you're looking from a top-down view, you can't tell.
Yeah. It's classic tabletop sim stuff. So yeah.
Did you remember to activate your Vengeful Wanderer?
Yes, I did. I put the damage. Oh, we didn't put the damage down. Let me.
Who do you choose the damage on?
Right here.
Oh geez, he is in a tight spot.
Indeed.
6. Yeah, I have 10 health. I'm okay.
You're only playing into like most cards.
Let's see here.
So now you've got Cactull out there, another fun strategy that we've seen recently that's been making the rounds and scaring people a little bit, perhaps suggesting a nerf. So Cactull 630 ranged. The 3 attack on Cactull there is pretty monumental. That is one of, I think, the only 2-star with 3 attack.
And he's ranged.
And he's ranged. So pretty massive lad. And so you give that guy Pinata Tana, you give it Ruby Cutlass, or God forbid you give it Sapphire Spear and give it potentially up to +4 attack. And it really just crushes.
Yeah.
So recently there's been a suggestion to nerf that to 5 health. And it's a bit curious because Cactull, I mean, like I said, it's pretty strong and it's the range is great. At the same time, though, it's got 6 health and no defense. So there are a lot of ways to take it down before the opponent can react. And you don't even need piercing. You don't need magical attack. You just hit it with anything for 3 damage twice. We've had a suggestion to nerf it to 5 health in order to increase its survivability. The idea being that you would have to, if you want it to be, as survivable as it currently is, you'd have to give it some kind of buff or attack or a break time or something that'll keep it going for a bit longer if it gets attacked.
For sure. That'll be tapped. I think I'll move this forward as well, and we'll just give it this as well. And we'll call turn.
Oh geez. Just looking, you got so much onto the field.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, Toxosaurus looks way scarier than he actually is.
Yeah, the utility of the ability seems to be the main reason to play.
Yeah.
So, fun fact: Pinata Conda and Toxosaurus were supposed to be switched.
So Pinata Conda, have they seen Pinata Conda yet?
Okay, let me just take it from my hand so I can show them. So. If you see how strong this is, this was intended for the guy that looks like a Godzilla-level kaiju.
I actually like that. I like the idea that the strong-looking guys are weaker, and then the funny-looking guys are the strongest ones. That's just such a fun aesthetic.
Yeah, that was intentional.
Yeah. I thought see the thing is, I just like the idea that Pinata Conda is a pinata, and I like the idea that like. The reason it keeps losing health is that everywhere it travels, there's like annoying children that follow it around, hitting it with a baseball bat to try and get candy. And so they just keep trying to like steal all of its candy, and it's just not having any of it, but it can't do anything about it because it's not mean.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 attack.
And I've noticed on your Discord server that like you'll be like creating cards with the community sometimes.
Yeah.
That's just mainly me.
Yeah.
I'm just like going, hey guys, what should I draw today?
What am I going to name this thing I made?
To to be fair, half the reason why I even draw is just because I like coming up with critters. So it's like even though they're technically done, I still like coming up with them.
Yeah, this is a perfect stage for that kind of thing.
Right. I mean, I just additionally we're also planning. If our Kickstarter does well, then we're hoping to do an expansion.
Yeah.
So pretty much any critter idea or ability idea that anyone has, even if we don't use it exactly, it's still going to help inspire the ideas.
Yeah.
So this Crystallion is going to die next turn regardless, knowing you. So I'm going to put Kaiju.
Run away.
I'm going to put Kaiju Candy down on the Crystallion. So he has, 1, 6, 7, 8.
Garch, that will blow it up.
No. He doesn't do anything. So let's see. 1, 3, 4, 5. Crap.
I was very specific with how I've arranged the damage counters here.
That is evil. That is actually evil.
Most villainous ploy.
There's a reason why I call myself the card game master on Discord, and it's because I was really good at Inscription one time.
I love Inscription so much.
Inscription is such a good game. It's my favorite game of all time.
Yeah. For the record, though, the having 4 rows thing came out. That was already in this game's design before Inscription. Although I like to pretend that it was inspired by it.
Okay, screw it. I'm going to use my last action to upgrade. Oh. What happened there? Huh?
Ooh.
Tabletop sim being tabletop sim.
The card fell on the floor. Hold on.
Garch is so mad that he's about to lose his Crystallion that he's just throwing things. He's throwing a fit. He's being unprofessional and rude on stream. Unbelievable.
I hate Cobblecritters.
Oh my goodness, he's saying regrettable oaths.
Okay, I am done my turn now.
All right.
You're not going to retreat your Crystallion?
Oh yeah, that's... Hold on. Run away! Run away! There we go. God, I love tabletop.
Tabletop sim is the best device ever made by man or machine. All right. Definitely a good move there for sure.
I forgot you can move them backwards.
Yeah. Let's see here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Maths. I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I can't do math. What are you talking about? Started taking 2, 3 damage. So if I do, okay, sure. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, I think that works. So if we play Inner Fury here, on the Cactal.
Oh no. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
And we'll Cactal.
Let's see what Jimmy is talking about in action.
Oh, no.
Cactal for
Eso no es muy bueno.
the Pinata and the Venistack, and then we can Toxosaurus away the Venistack. And then we just wait for next turn for the Pinata to die.
Hi, Garch. I know you're new to Cobblecritters, so let me introduce you to the concept of a board wipe. Oh, it seems you're already acquainted.
This is why I'm good at Inscription. I find weird combos. Although this was not super weird.
Strike.
Yeah, well, I got 4 crystals, so who's the winner here?
Well,
and now I have...
he just also got 4 crystals and is now at 5 after the start of your... Actually, no, the
at the start of your turn, I'll be at 5.
Oh, yeah, that is 5 then, yeah.
How much damage does the Vantastack have on him?
Dead.
6.
Yeah, 2
Actually,
and
wait,
4.
does it have 1 defense? Wait, does it have 1 defense?
Oh, 1 defense?
Yeah.
Oh, so it has 4. So I'll take this crystal
Yeah.
Vantastack never dies.
back. So here, let me
He's too
put
powerful.
put that. Put that. Put that. All right. And then we will. Yeah, I think we'll pass on that.
So another really interesting topic that comes up when we are balancing the game is critters versus specials. So the idea is, we want the game to be. The idea is to start the game. We want players to be getting critters out there, moving them up, and then once a bunch of critters are, kind of set up and ready to go, that players start using specials to make the fights more interesting. But there's been times when critters were nothing more than a on switch for your ridiculous special combo.
Mm.
And again, we got into the question of, okay, is that okay, or do we want the game to be more focused around critters? And the conclusion is we wanted the game to be more focused around critters.
You just won 3 crystals. Congratulations.
Let's move this one, and then I'll just take the stack. There we go. There we go.
Okay, now let's see. Yeah, Jimmy, continue.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So critters versus specials, and so it's like we had to ask the question: do we want this game to have large special combos that are just enabled by critters, or do we want the game to be about critters as the star players?
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, we decided we wanted critters to be the star players and specials to just be more of a tool you use to help win fights. But at one point in the past, so we had this critter called Bottled Nightmare, and what it did was the card text was very simple.
Yeah, sure, I attack with him.
Oh, I thought that's what you were signaling.
Oh no, I was just messing around.
Sure. I can. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you want?
Okay. Attack with him.
Sure.
And then I place this down.
And I can hold on to the sentry sapling too, right?
I believe you're required to activate it. Actually, let me have a look at the card.
Yeah, damaged.
Damaged, and it says discard this trinket. Yes, it doesn't say you may, so you got to do it.
Okay, cool.
And that is one of the primary counters to sentry sapling. You can deny them the 2 health bonus by just doing 1 damage.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good.
Yeah, that was intentional. I definitely noticed it was there.
Excellent work. So, but yeah, we had this critter Bottled Nightmare. It had 6 health, 3 attack, and 0 defense. So, and it was a 3-star. So not super great stats for a 3-star, especially if you look at Honey Hunter, who's 730. But the text on Bottled Nightmare was very simple and an awful, awful, terrible, no good idea. It said, all heal effects deal damage instead.
Wow.
So what that did is it turned the game into a special machine gunning clown fiesta where the winner would be the person.
Does that not sound amazing? Does that not sound amazing?
Well, it also wasn't fun, so. But I mean, every turn you would just have one of the players would just go full machine gun mode. They'd play 4 healing based specials and just melt their opponent's critters before they could do anything or respond or even fight.
he's got porcupine potion.
Oh yeah.
Played right into piercing. You also played into Fury, Thistle Missile, for Berserk Firework, Pinatatana, Suplex Belt.
Jimmy, do you know what'd be fun?
Toxosaurus, Turretail. I'm not done. Samarantid.
Okay, to be fair, the event there does give it an extra health, so it had to be exactly 2 damage.
Okay, so
unfortunately,
is he dead?
My man does have exactly 2 damage, so yes, I believe so.
Or wait, no, doesn't have 7 health though.
Wait, it has the extra health from this too, so I think it's 1 away from being dead.
Yes.
So once break time ends, it dies.
Yeah.
So wait, break time was I put it on, so there we go, and then he's at 6 health. Yeah, so he has 2 health remaining. Yeah.
No, 1 health remaining.
Oh, sorry. I mean, like I put down 2.
Oh, I see.
Me bad with words.
Okay, so that's one action.
Jimmy, do you know what'd be really funny
What do you
as a
think?
critter?
I'm
A
just gonna
3-star
mine.
that every turn it just damages everything on the field. So it's like you either have to build your entire deck around it, and when your opponent sees it, they go, "Oh crap!"
Isn't that just Explosion? Or not Explosion, Turret Tail.
No, but I'm talking like every turn. So at the start of every,
You would run out of damage counters. You'd have to get more.
you have to go to the store.
You'd have to start using pennies as damage counters.
There you go. So I've done an action that we actually haven't done before yet, which is mining.
Ah, greedy.
So I just
Look at
use
this
my...
bastard. He can afford to mine.
Oh, I'm actually going to move the Toxosaurus up too, by the way. I forgot to do that. I meant to do, but I did not. Okay, there we go. So yeah, mining is an action you can take just to get one crystal, just for tapping your creature. It is an action though, so it takes up one of your 2 actions per turn.
Okay, so break time is down to 1.
Mm-hmm.
We have some lingo related to mining. If your opponent plays a Crabalanche, and instead of retreating the critter that you have in the cavern, you mine, we call that a Chad mine, because you are not afraid of the Crabalanche.
What a ballsy move.
And then if you're doing it even though that the critter is going to be destroyed, we call it an Omega Chad mine. And then if the critter has like a scrap pickaxe, which means you earn an extra crystal and they're going to die, then that is just like the greatest bad manners mine ever.
Yeah. I was when I was playing it with my friend, I realized the power of the mine. I was playing a healing deck, so it was like, of course, but like, wow, it's sometimes you can just sit there and mine and like,
if
you don't care.
Your opponent, and that's the thing, you gotta bring mind breakers. If you just like, oh, I'm just gonna play a bunch of critters that are super defensive but have no attack potential. Like, yeah, you can move up and sit in front of your opponent, but if they have more crystals, they will just mine you out. So you need to you got to bring your suplex belts, your interferes, your pinatatanas, your honey hunters, all that kind of stuff that can break through a defensive opponent. Otherwise, they can just mine you out, and that's very much intentional.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have that burst damage.
Jimmy, do you want me to tell you about the terrible thing that's going on with the con right now?
What?
Okay, so the
for
other
reference,
day,
we're going to a game convention called GameX in Toronto.
Aha. That's
so
really cool.
the other day I got an invoice sent to me, and he said, "Can you send it over? Can you send an EMT, which is I'm guessing electronic money transfer?"
That's right.
And it said it was due by the same day. And this being at like 11:30, I went, "Oh God, okay, I'll just send it over via PayPal."
Okay.
So I sent the $85 over PayPal. Everything went through. I sent him the receipt, and I said, "Everything's good." And he said, "I don't have PayPal."
Oh.
So after calling PayPal for 2 hours today, turns out he does have PayPal.
Huh?
So the way PayPal works is if you mistype the email for whatever reason, after a certain amount of period, they will just give the money back.
Okay.
So, and this counts for inactive accounts too. So, for example, if I were to send money to my mom's account, she hasn't touched it in like 10 years, so it would just send back to me automatically.
Okay.
Thing is, he apparently doesn't have that. His account, the PayPal lady said, is still active.
Okay.
And he said he doesn't have one.
Huh.
So, either he's got to get that checked out because that is very worrying, or he's lying his ass off.
Oh my God.
Goodness.
And I'm like, hey, can we call? I have people flying in to come to this convention. I sort of need a table.
Yeah.
And he has not responded yet.
Oh dear.
Oh wow. All right. So
how is the 18-year-old more like business savvy than you?
Right. I'm gonna tap my Toxosaurus to deal with your Ventastack. I think it does for real this time.
Wait, I just realized. I just realized Vantastack had range. I could have just attacked your Cactull.
Like. All right, so I'll take a crystal for that. And then we're going to play... ooh, actually, not a great idea. Because that does that much damage, right? Ooh. Actually, let's take that back. Take that back, take it back, take it back. Please.
But you want the Vantastack back?
Vantastack back, please.
Okay, so how... It had, like, what?
It had 5 damage on it.
Okay.
There they
There
are.
we go.
Okay.
Reversing...
Reversing the flow of time. Zawodo. All right. I'm going to play Flickerfly instead as my first move.
My turn has been paused for 10 minutes while Jimmy talks about some random card.
I'm gonna heal off of these 2. And then we're going to let's see. Heals damage. Okay. Then we're going to inner strike my Cactal. This is why.
Oh dear.
we needed that extra health.
Unbelievable. 5 health nerf incoming. Your every move makes the nerf more rapid.
We're going to hit the Crystallion, which I believe will kill it. And then we're going to hit the Sam Squanch, which will allow you to heal the Ventastack. Or, yeah, it has to be.
You said Sam Squanch?
Sam Squanch.
It's a Sasquatch. It's a Sasquatch. Squash. It's Sasquatch. Sam Squanch.
Sam
Hey,
Squanch.
for the record, he pronounced Picassimilian correctly.
Yeah, you got a cookie for that.
We have people. I think we are currently 6 and 3. We have had 6 people call it Picasso Melon.
Oh wait, he has Sentry Sapling on him. That means he only gets 2 damage.
Yep.
Don't forget that damage effect, Garch.
Yeah.
And the damage effect.
Yep.
I may heal 1 health from another critter.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. You actually helped me.
And then I'll also take three crystals.
Dad's gonna give you a treat.
Let's see here. I already grabbed one from the. I already grabbed one from the Ventastack, so I'm gonna not.
No, I'm gonna give you a treat, Jimmy.
Grab 2.
Catch.
Wait a minute. Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can you throw another one? I didn't actually miss it. I caught up.
Jimmy, wait about 10 minutes for it to land. It might be on fire.
Launching it from Toronto.
I'm going to.
Oh yeah, one comment that I've noticed a couple people say is health. Health. I don't know if there's anything you can really do about it, but health is really high. They would like some way to do like more damage.
Huh.
I could see that.
Huh. That is definitely intentional. You're not meant to be able to take down critters in one swing. And if you can, there needs to be a lot of setup. Like, for example, if you want to like one-shot your opponent's Crystallion, like, all right, you're probably going to need magical damage or piercing, and then you're going to need some attack buffs, maybe some double strike. You know, there's a lot of steps that it takes. It's supposed to be that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
I definitely realized. I realized, like, thinking on it, like, this isn't like Pokemon, like I said earlier, where you just throw away the Charmander for the Charizard. Throughout the whole game, the Vantastack is standing next to like the 3 stars.
Yeah.
So you got to make it so that it doesn't instantly die, like just breathing on him.
Yeah. And the reason that Crystallion at 3 stars doesn't have the 3 times the health of Vantastack at a 1 star is because that healing is so prevalent in the game, which means that if your opponent doesn't one-shot a critter, you're going to have the chance to retreat it, which means you can heal it later, or heal it on the spot, but that might take some actions.
Yeah.
So your opponent might have to spend actions, they might have to spend cards to retaliate your damage with healing. But it's just having the cutoff of Crystallion needs 9 total damage at once without any of it being healed off to defeat. That is what makes having 9 health actually, in my opinion, more than 3 times as strong than having 5 health.
Yeah.
because it gives you the chance to retreat. It gives you the chance to upgrade.
For sure.
And that is really powerful.
It's my turn. Whoops.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, the break time is well over now.
Yep. Get back to work.
No,
Come
we're
on,
a union.
turn down your defenses. We're union. Oh no, all the Toxosauruses have unionized, now they're demanding increased maximum health. Oh jeez. We just do not have the bandwidth to deal with this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. So he has 3, 5. Okay, so my Vant stack attacks your cactuar.
Okay. And it has the extra health from the break time because it's all critters, right?
No. Oh.
I realized this. I didn't have to do that play I did last time. I could have gotten rid of the Vanta stack too.
Okay, you are hanging on by a thread.
Really? Once break time is over, he's out of here.
No, but you're just gonna heal him up. You think I'm that stupid? Place down a cookbook. Okay, my turn is up. I am making some stupid plays today.
Well, I'm about to make my favorite play in this entire game, and that is mine, game.
Ouch. Not your finest moment, Garch.
Literally, if I just defeated the cactuar, you know what? It literally would not make a difference. I just realized it would not have been, he would have mined regardless.
Yep.
Yeah. Dearie me.
So yeah, that's the game. I think it's really fun. I think you've done a great job with it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I do think cactuar stats are very impressive.
Cactuar stats are pretty impressive. You might tap down that health by one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I think it would be a reasonable adjustment. So yeah, now I'm going to get into discussion because I'm very interested in. So I think the first thing
Jimmy
is
came for.
Yeah, I think the first thing I want to get down to is where did this idea come from?
Yes. Oh, do you want the extended history or the simple history?
Give it to me. Extended. Let's go.
All right. In fact, I'm going to give a more extended version of the history than I've ever given before.
Ooh,
so
exclusive.
Yes. So a while back, I was playing this game that came out of Kickstarter, and it was called Millennium Blades. Hold up, no, I can go even further back than that. We can go to the begins with the Big Bang, when matter from the center of the universe. Okay, no.
You're saying Jimmy was born.
Yeah. No, what it really begins with is I'm in middle school, and I love Pokemon and Magic the Gathering, and I want to make a collectible card game.
Who doesn't?
And so I recall I threw together some ideas, and I made a game called War of Arenas that I played with some of my friends. And it was very simple and massively unbalanced. War of Arenas' core mechanic was that you would buy. So my friends would quote unquote buy cards from me. I made a deal with my teacher. I honestly, fantastic teacher, to distribute these little paper coins that I made whenever people did well on quizzes, and then they could buy cards from me, and then I would go home, print them out, and then give it to them.
Amazing.
It's actually genius, though.
Yeah, well, it was the teacher loved it because people actually took it seriously and used like, oh, hey, can I buy your pencil using these coins? And that was totally allowed, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
Because they're just paper.
Jimmy
so you know,
created capitalism.
I created Of course, I was the one who got to print the coins, so you know.
Yeah, the advantage of being the bank, as we all know in Monopoly.
Of course. So you know, sometimes a couple of coins slip their way into my pocket. Yeah. So, but yeah, and so I would make these cards for my friends, and it was an all right game, and it was hilarious because the friends who I had who did play the game, it was about 10 people, would keep playing, because I had this rarity system in the game where every card was the same rarity, except that as a card, every card had like your common, rare, common, uncommon, etc.
Mhm.
rarity rankings, and as a card got rarer, the stats directly increased.
Oh, this is I thought this was like an actual card game you were talking
So
about.
this was a card game that I made with my friends, and it was ridiculously unfair because you would get a rarer card, and then you would open that, and then you would actually just have better base stats than your opponent. So so I did that, and I remember that it was good fun until somebody unpacked it's like a triple, like the rarities, the rankings were insane. It was like triple legendary or divine or some insane
So
super high rarity
Yu-Gi-Oh.
ranking. Yeah, pretty much. But like there was literally a 1 in 10,000 ranking that me and my small group of friends, we actually rolled one, and the friend who got that card proceeded to roll everyone because their base stats were 3 times everybody else's.
Wow.
And so I recall that that actually ended up making a pretty big rift in our relationship. And I remember thinking like, I wonder if card packs and rarity and all this kind of stuff ain't the right way. So fast forward a bit, and I'm playing this game called Millennium Blades, and it's like a board game that simulates trading card games. And
Mhm.
I remember liking that, but it was too the actual way that it treated the card game itself was a little bit too simplified for me. And so then fast forward much later, and are you familiar with the streamer German985?
I am familiar. Not haven't done a whole lot of like looking into, but I
Yeah,
do know the
so
concept.
right. A while ago, German985 in his effervescent wackiness
Mhm.
decided to do a stream where he went into the center of the Nevada desert, hired a geologist, and they opened geodes together.
Aha.
And it was a great stream. And as a lead-in bit, like a skit before he started opening the geodes, was he did a joke about opening his quote-unquote great-grandfather's treasure chest, which was obviously just a joke.
Mhm.
Um, but inside of the treasure chest, instead of finding gold or whatever, instead all he finds is a bunch of crap from the 90s. And he's like, well, and so there's like a note on top, and it says, dear grandson, if you're reading this, you must be a millionaire because I saved all this stuff from the 90s for you. And so he opens it, but all it's got like, like a Kool-Aid and Pogs and, Dunkaroos and all this other, useless junk that no one's going to buy in the modern day.
Mhm.
But in the chest, he also finds a box labeled trading. It was sealed monster trading card packs. And he picks up the box and he's like, "Oh my God, Pokemon cards! I'm going to actually be a millionaire. There could be a holofoil Charizard in here. There could be any number of incredibly rare cards. I'm actually going to be a millionaire." And he opens it up, shouting, "Pokemon cards!" But instead, all he finds are sealed packs of Grotto Beasts. Grotto Beasts is a joke game that he came up with that didn't actually have any rules. So he essentially just commissioned a bunch of artists to
Mhm.
make drawings and then put random silly text on all the cards. So all he was really doing is he wanted to have some funny cards, and he just wanted to do a bit making fun of people who open trading card packs on YouTube.
Jake Paul.
So he's doing his joke, and he's like every card he's like, wow, Razzlepuss, wow, Chromanova, wow, Sneezy, and every single card he's doing it, he's doing a bit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I saw that, I like German, so I saw the bit and I was like, oh man, these little critters are so fun. And I'm like, I wonder if these beasts, if there's actually a game behind them. And so I looked at the cards, and it was pretty clear immediately that there wasn't actually a
Mhm.
game. That it was he just put random text on the cards to make it look like real. The most telling thing was one card that said summon a 0/0 illusion, despite the fact that every card in Grotto Beast has 5 stats. So which 2 stats are the zeros? So it was very clear that it was not a real game. It was just, he just threw it together. But I was like, but I love these guys so much. I wonder if we can make a real game out of this.
Mhm.
And so like I said, in middle school, I came up with a card game to play with my friends, and I've always been into making games, board games, video games. So I was like, well, why don't I try, and I'll take these pictures and I'll come up with some rules for them, and we'll try and make a real version of the game.
Mhm.
So that's what I did. I came up with rules, and then I brought them to the Grotto Beast community, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, these look really fun. Let's play it." We hopped into Tabletop Simulator, we goofed around, and then we just started balancing the cards, and we changed the rules of the game and edited and nudged and tweaked. And after a long time, we had our own version of the game, a community version of Grotto Beasts. All the only thing really that was related to Grotto Beasts at that point was just the pictures, because real Grotto Beasts had no rules.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we landed on a game that we were pretty happy with, and we were like, well, this is great. And we were like, well, maybe we should, try and make these cards in real life. And then around that time is when Germa's manager got involved.
Oh.
So he contacted Garch and told Garch to stop drawing stuff that had the
Okay,
stop.
yeah. So So what happened was, Wacky Meal.
Yeah.
So originally it was pretty much the exact same idea, except instead of Cactual Burger, it was a Meowdy Burger. And
Meowdy being a Grotto Beast, not a Cobblecritter.
Yeah, and stuff like that.
And so, so
he hit me up like, "Hey, stop!"
Yeah, so he drew a picture. He drew a picture of that, and the manager guy shot a message to Garch like saying, "Do not do that." And I mean that was just scary for everyone, because we thought, well, gee, if Garch can get shouted at and scared off, then what's going to happen to us? And then we're all like sitting there in a VC, hearts pounding, like, ooh, what's going to happen? And then I get a message from the guy. And all he says is, I would like to meet with you tomorrow at whatever time. And I'm like, oh, Lord, it's all over, right? So the next day, I get into that VC, I put on my headphones, click on my mic, and I'm sitting there, hands sweating, just teeth clenched. And he's like, so you're the person in charge of the Grotto Beasts fan community project. And I'm like, yes, it's a fan project. And he's like, oh, we love your game. And I'm like, sorry, what? And he says, oh, yeah, you guys are great. You're keeping up the interesting Grotto Beasts. You're having a lot of fun. He said, keep making your game. You can use our pictures to make your game as long as you don't sell anything. He said, just, make sure that you put make it clear that it's not our Grotto Beast, that it's your Grotto Beast, and you're all good. And I was like, oh, well, and at this point, like, I like Grotto Beast, I like German, so I'm like, well, maybe I can help make, because he explained to me that they were also making a version of their game, like for Germa. And I was like, well, maybe I could help develop your guys' version. And he was like, yeah, I'll contact the designers that we're working with and we'll get it sorted out. And communication ended up being pretty awful. Pretty often I'd be like, hey, what's going on? What's the status? And I would barely ever get any new information. And when I did get information, it wasn't always accurate.
We'll keep in contact was a no. Yeah. I don't think so.
It was really just a, hey, you're keeping up hype for the game. Please keep keeping up hype. And if me
give us
saying
attention,
pretty much. And it was really disheartening, because I like Germa and I want to do help out Germa, and if I could have a part in something that Germa does, then that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. But they're just not playing ball, and that was pretty sad, and everyone in the community was pretty disheartened, because we all were like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get to help make the real game, and we're all gonna be there, and it's gonna be great. And then it was just kind of silence, and it was kind of sad. And so we're like, well, okay, we can't really, it looks like that they're not going to really be much in contact with us. So what do we do? Back to the drawing board, I guess. And we were like, we do, because at this point we've been working on the game for about a year, and it was like, we actually have a pretty solid game here. I mean, this game is fun, and also all the rules, like I said, there's no rules at all that belong to Grotto Beast. It was all our ideas, right?
Yeah.
So we were like, well, heck, the only thing we don't own here is the pictures. So let's ditch the pictures, redo all of the card art, and cream gravy. We've got a game that we can make however we want. With we don't have to worry about Germa's manager saying don't do this. Mm-hmm. We don't have to worry about Germa himself like changing his mind on things. We don't have to worry about lack of communication. We can just kind of go our own way. And so that's how Grotto Beast community became Cobblecritters. And we just sat down, hashed things out, wrote things up, and 3D modeled the digital version for everyone to play. And here we are, about a month or change away from doing a physical Kickstarter for the game.
Yeah. So is that origin why the focus on this mining aspect?
Yes, the mining originally was inspired by the geodes, because geodes that he was opening on the stream. Geodes have crystals in them, or sometimes they're crystals, sometimes they're other things. But the idea was that you would geodes, crystals, they kind of line up, and then if originally the cavern was called the grotto because it was originally grotto beasts.
Yeah.
But there's at this point the only thing in the game that's similar to grotto beasts, again, they don't actually have any rules, at least none that are publicly available for us to see. So the only thing that's similar is that we have 40 critters and they have 40 beasts.
Yeah.
But as for the actual thematic content of literally everything, there's no similarity at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's really interesting.
It's a very, very strange story.
Yeah. It makes for a good tale though,
Yeah.
This all started, because you could just go back like that and just,
Yeah.
so then you had to create new creatures, and this is where I want to get into the art. The art for this game is really lovely. I really enjoy it. Very, very cute, very cool. Nice line work. I love the line work. What are Garchampula, what are your like major inspirations for like your art style and just like the kind of things you create for the game?
So in terms of art style, I would say that the biggest inspirations are just random images on Twitter, I find. Because like I'll see an image on Twitter and I'll save it to my computer, and I just have hundreds of just random cool images that literally anyone liked. Well, I like, at least. I don't know where I was going with that. But in terms of like specifics, I would say if you've ever played the Super Mario games, like Bowser's Inside Story on the DS, that specific let me see if I can pull it up.
I think I know what you mean. Kind of the like the drawn style.
Yeah.
Like the papery.
Inside. Well, specifically what they do, I've noticed, is they have a thick black outline, but the inside, if the colors match. So I'm going to try to find an image that shows it well. Does this work? It kind of works. So if you look at this image, you'll notice that Luigi's overalls aren't the same thick black outline. It's sort of like a greenish. And that's because there's no real need for a thick black outline because the colors don't clash with one another. That alone, me noticing that and saying to myself, hey, I should include that in my own art, I'm pretty sure it's like the biggest change I've ever made in my art.
I see what you mean, yeah. Yeah, like I'm looking at Wimpire on the cover here, and like his chest is...
Yeah, here's a way better visual of it. You can see it on like Bowser's shell and his hair and stuff.
Yeah, so like the shell has a hard line to his body because those are different enough, but the shell to the rest of the shell doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's that small tweak that once I realized I'd made it, it's like it looked so much better.
Yeah.
In terms of creating critters themselves, a lot of them actually were from Cobblecritters. Or not. A lot of them were from Grotto Beasts, in that I came along and just sort of went, hey, I want to design my own Grotto Beasts. So so Nighty Night, I'm pretty sure, was the first ever Grotto Beast I made. I literally made that like the night after Germa's stream. So Nighty Night, Sheerwolf was supposed to be like Meowdy's partner in crime, and then we just sort of had to scrap that idea.
Or fighting crime, what I say.
So a lot of them just carried over, and the ones that were new, it was just I'd think of something, I'd go, "Hey Jimmy, how does this sound?" And he'd go, "No, that sounds terrible." And I'd go,
"Oi." Yep.
Hey, actually, I appreciate how hard Jimmy has been on like a lot of my designs.
No, don't say I've been hard. It's more just like Garch. I don't think MooFO works.
MooFO is great, by the way.
New MooFO is great. Old MooFO was a cow with a brown paper bag on his head, and you know it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I sort of let the game go loose in its creative art direction, and Jimmy sort of restrains it and keeps it like all unified.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for me, every single character would be like a guy with a giant ass.
I think that but it's like on like the broader scale, the reason that it is Cobblecritters specifically is because the whole idea of the game is you cobble together multiple goofy ideas to end up with your critter. So like if you want to just go over to the bookshelf real quick in game and have a look at the Zachary says Muafo. But yeah, if you just want to in your tabletop sim to go over and have a look at the bookshelf. If you look at the critters, there is one in the stack called Hip Hopper. It should be not too far down if you just sort it alphabetically.
Let's see here.
Yeah, right there. The red, purple one on the left there. Yeah.
Purple one. Search. There we go. What we're looking for?
Yeah. So Hip Hopper. It's the number 16. It's just if you just look at them orderly.
16.
Jimmy, I found the exact same conversation we had. I like Cobble Gem actually. Cobble Gem critters. What is cobble? And we talked about like the idea of cobbling. Yeah. Kind of matches the attitude of the world. In the real way, the critters are cobbled from the whack. This is like literally the exact conversation. Mixing the creature with the theme. Hip hop is hip hop and hopper like a frog. Uh-huh. And my sister likes pitter crits. She says Cobble Gem sounds like a critter. Cobblecritters. Literally, that's the exact way it came across.
What a moment.
I quite like the repeated sound. It's fun to say. And that's it. That's how we came up with it.
It took us so long to come up with a name for it, though. But yeah, but like I was saying, hip hopper here. I mean, as Garth just explained, but like we got a frog, and we're like, okay, what if he's a DJ? Okay, what if instead of having DJ discs, he has lily pads? All right, what if he plugs into his headphone using his tongue? And hip hopper, there you go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the whole. That's the real basis of all the critter design is behind that.
And puns and portmanteaus. So yeah,
okay, but what?
I'm just gonna show off some of the art while we're doing this. So you have you have the flatjack here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Flatjack was actually one of our server members' idea. Tiddlyminks, the person who's dropped into stream early. He originally he printed out on thick cardstock, he cut cardstock into the shape of the critter and then colored it with a like a colored pencil, and then it looked kind of like it does now. But the reason that it was called Flatjack was because that it was a little pancake snail, but also it was literally flat. It was on a piece of paper. And so when we transitioned that to our real art style, the final art style for the game, we were like, well, the original critter was in real life, so why don't we use a real life image kind of as the back of the card?
And here you can see some of what you're saying with the thick outer lines on the top and the less thick ones on the bottom end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just this art style is like extremely appealing. The backgrounds are fun for a lot of them too. We have a couple of in progress ones. One thing I'm curious about is in the upper right corner we have little symbols.
Everyone asks about that. Every single person.
So that icon up there. So that is called the home cavern icon. It has no current use in gameplay, but we would very much like to do an expansion for the game, and if the Kickstarter does well, we'll be able to do that. And we'll start using those. We might use those, or we might use something else depending on how the expansion develops. But the idea is that those icons are kind of like tribe symbols, kind of like in Yu-Gi-Oh, how you might have the water symbol in the top right. Hearthstone, you might have a murloc, etc.
Yeah.
And so that is what those will be used for. We have a lot of people who have kind of just gleaned that out, just by themselves. But that is the intention, that those will become tribe symbols. For the time though, they're just little fun lore things. For example, the one that you're hovering over, Flatjack, the crossed carrot and spatula, that is the Cavern of High Gusto, which is like a giant island made of food with a pretzel fortress in the center.
As a person who adores bug snacks, I appreciate this island.
Yeah. Let's see. You've also got Flatjack on that island. We've got Burgabeast, Vanilla Rilla.
Jimmy, I just realized something.
Yeah.
What about Atlantis? Why don't we have an Atlantis themed one?
Actually, we were discussing. So for the next expansion, if we get to do one, the idea is we want to have a steampunk versus magic theme. And it was suggested for the magic one to have it be in kind of like an underwater magical school.
I suggested Harry Potter.
Well, hey, we
I
cobbled
thought
that idea together
Hogwarts.
too. No, we just go and license Harry Potter directly. No, but yeah, the idea was, to have like an underwater magical school, with a bit of Atlantis inspiration, a little bit of, Harry Potter, a little bit of special sauce.
Yeah. That sounds really cool.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think what you've got here is really cool.
Thank you.
I guess that's all my questions about the card game itself.
Okay.
So what now I kind of want to talk about, like, I guess this is like a little bit about the card game, but like it's more like big picture kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing a bit of a deep dive into the history. I guess it's hard to call it history because it's not. So I'm a historian, so like this is like a important thing. It's hard to call it history when it's not like at least 15 years old. But like MetaZoo is a really weird scenario right now.
Oh yes.
For everyone, when they talk, because I've heard people compare us to MetaZoo a lot, and whenever they go, "Oh God, MetaZoo."
Just before anyone says anything, we're not doing NFTs. No NFTs of nothing ever. No, go away.
The fun way to say it: the only digital versions of our cards we'll ever do are PDFs for you to download.
And I think that's fucking rad. I actually this was like a thing I asked right beforehand. I was like, what are your stance on all this kind of thing? And because I didn't want to have a Kodak moment where it's like, oh, I supported this game and now they're doing awful things.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
Didn't they turn like a complete 180? Like, from what I can tell on the Kickstarter page, it's just pretty much just your average like little Pokemon inspired card game.
Yeah.
And now I look at it and it's like completely different, and apparently they're starting to sell them at Barnes and Nobles for some reason.
Yeah, they're getting into retail. I've like I said, I've been like deep diving into this way too much just because it's so fascinating to me. So like,
from what I've heard, they got Steve Aoki involved. Steve Aoki is a DJ, and then he's like, "Yo, this is great." And Steve Aoki has a ton of connections in of himself because he's apparently a big deal.
He's a DJ and NFT guru.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
he
got a bunch of investors in on that, and pretty much 180'd the game.
Yeah. That seems to be my understanding of it too.
He literally just went like, "Hey, this is how you get way more money."
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's weird. It's sort of like stuck in that position, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can't really backtrack on that because everyone knows MetaZoo as that one trading card game, the one Pokemon NFT game.
Yeah. Once you go down that path, it's hard to come back from it.
Yeah.
But like because we already know your stance on NFTs and all that. And we all know NFTs are harmful, dangerous, silly scams.
Yes. Absolutely.
I want to talk more about the idea of like speculation and the card game market as a whole rather than the NFT side of it. So like what are your thoughts on your place in the card game market?
Well, so I'm just to make sure we're clear, this isn't a trading card game.
Yes.
Right? This is, you buy a box and it has everything in it. Now, of course, how did we get here? Because originally we actually were going to be a trading card game. We were going to have card packs. You would buy them, open them, rarities, all that kind of stuff. But so this is kind of where we get into my look at it. So it's a few things. So at first, like I said, we were going to do a trading card game, and I was always a bit iffy on it because if you recall, I was telling that story about me in middle school making War of Arenas and having the crazy rarity tiers.
Yeah.
And I remember that we ended up in this situation where there was pretty much the quote unquote core players. It was about 3 or 4 people who would always spend all of their coins buying cards, and I had a thing where you could combine similar rarity cards to get higher rarity cards. And so I remember that we had the core people, and they would actually do that. And so their entire deck was like rare or higher rarity cards, and their stats were just better. And I remember we would have someone new come into the game, and they would get like their deck, and whenever, because it was a new deck, it would have low rarity cards, and they would lose, and they would just be like, well, it's not fair. Your cards are just better than mine. And they would say, well, yeah, you just gotta play the game to get the rare. You just gotta do that. And they would just bounce right off the game. They would just give their deck back and say, okay, maybe another time, and then never play again. And so from that experience, what I really gained from that experience was just there's a problem that I have with card game rarity, in that it makes people not able to get into your game at a level that they feel it creates a rift between the people who are big spenders and those who are not. And the problem is that if you are not a big spender, you wish you had the stuff that the big spenders do, and that makes you feel more distant from the heart of the game. And if you are a big spender, you wish you didn't have to spend as much to enjoy the hobby that you've enjoyed for so long. And then every time they release a new set, you're forced to dole out a whole bunch of more cash to the secondary market. And that very much just did not sit right with me. So, I mean, even before we made the decision to switch over from a TCG to a big box game, just that has all the cards in the game in it, I was already a bit skeptical of it. I wasn't sure if it was the right path to go down. Because, like I said, I didn't want to create this gap between people who are the real fans who spend loads of money and those who are not, because it doesn't sit right with me. I want everyone who looks at the cards and says this looks fun to be able to play at the same level with the same cards everyone else who thing. And so I had all those thoughts in my head. And then I went down and I talked to Oh, yeah, thank you for the follow, Saturnbot. Fantastic. But yeah, like I was saying, and so I had all those thoughts in my head that I don't want to split our community into the big spenders and the everyone else. That doesn't sit right with me.
For sure.
And so then I had it.
Sorry, this is just my own personal anecdote. I remember when I was 12, sort of a similar situation. I loved the Pokemon trading card game, and I made this little deck that I was so proud of. And every time I went to a tournament, I would always lose. I don't think I've ever won a single match because everyone else had this meta deck that instantly trumped me. And of course, the meta deck is the deck everyone's buying at the moment, so it's like crazy expensive.
Yep.
And the Pokemon meta is crazy. The power level difference between a basic deck and the meta stuff is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for a little kid, when you see like a V card, you go, wow, that's you gotta have like 1 or 2 if you're lucky, because like you're a little kid. But then when you play with them, they have nothing but.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
it's all V cards.
And then wait a year when they all become invalid.
Yes.
And then G cards come in and D cards. I'm sitting on like 20
cards.
I'm sitting on like 20 level X cards that are literally completely outclassed. There is no reason why you should use any of them anymore.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Garchomp, I think made you a VIP, so you should be able to post a link now.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. But yeah, where were we? So I then had this conversation with this fantastic game designer, Jamie, who's working on a game called Fight Sequence. Fantastic designer, very knowledgeable, and they were just kind of explaining to me. So us game designers, we're a funny lot. The thing is, when you're making a game, you don't care really about what people like about it. Now, don't get me wrong. I care about what people like about Cobblecritters.
Yeah.
But when I want to improve the game, I care about what people
don't like.
hate about the game. I want to hear about the scummiest combos, the most unfun cards, the most useless cards, the worst deck compositions. Because when I hear about those things, that lets me know what things need changing.
Mm-hmm.
And that attitude of tell me what's bad, give it to me directly without sugarcoating it, just kind of permeates all of game design, at least in the group that I'm part of.
Yeah.
It's quite curious because, we're all great friends. We love each other. We appreciate each other. But when you ask for feedback, the gauntlet is thrown, the smile comes off, and you're going to hear what the truth is. And you want to hear it, too. You'd best want to if you want your game to be good.
Yeah.
And that attitude permeates just our relationships in general, where if you ask someone, give it to me straight, Doc, they're gonna give it to you straight, Doc.
Yeah.
And so I remember saying, so they said, what's your plan for your card game? And I said, well, we want to do a TCG. And he said, well, where did you get that idea? And I said, well, my artist and I thought it would be a good idea. And he said, you and your artists are fools for thinking you can do it, and you should feel bad.
Because like people don't realize this, but creating a TCG is actually a really big investment.
Yeah.
So
we had to learn that like 3 months in.
He proceeded to the Jamie, they proceeded to unload onto me all of the reasons that I was not making a TCG. It might as well have been a TED Talk called "This is why you're not making a TCG." So they explained, number one, the reason that only Nintendo and Konami and other big companies like that are able to have a TCG is because it is incredibly expensive to actually print the packs.
Yeah.
Because you need to print, like, it's because of how mass production works. You need to make thousands and thousands and thousands for it to make any sense for anyone at all to produce.
I mean, look at what happened with MetaZoo. I mean, they went to a printer that was cheap, and now it turns out that printer is a known bootlegger and has the production like files for the original prints of everything. So every Kickstarter backer reward now is like the value of it is in jeopardy because of who they went to.
Exactly. And it's like, and that's the thing, right? There's very few people who can just right now today, and I have been I can just contact a company and say, hey, I want you to produce Cobblecritters. It's 240 cards, a board, rules, tokens in a box. What do you say? And they'll say, all right, give me the specifics. And I'll say, 200-gram art paper. And then they'll be like, all right, here's your quote. If I do the same thing for a card game, they're going to be like, no.
Yeah.
And I did actually get laughed out.
Places.
Exactly, right? I got laughed out of I got like email chains where I was like, "Hey, we want to make a TCG," and they and about 2 or 3 times they just said, "No, we will not." So
that's so direct.
Number one, yeah, really, it was hilarious. Like I said, the game industry, we're very direct with each other.
Yeah.
And so so number one, Jamie says, financially, production-wise, that's not happening. You are not making a trading card game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jamie says, number two, you're not making it because it doesn't morally agree with you. And I said, well, what do you mean? Jamie says, every trading card game that is successful does the same thing, where they have card packs that have chase rares in them.
Mm-hmm.
And the chase rare, as I'm sure you're familiar, it is you are opening pack after pack after pack to try and get this one card that will surely pay for all of them, or surely you'll get to use in your deck.
For a good example, Pot of Prosperity in Blazing Vortex, a set with nothing in it except for Pot of Prosperity.
Yes. So exactly, right. And so you end, and so that's why it's like and so then I recall one time, I was at a card shop when I was young, and I remember seeing these people opening Yu-Gi-Oh cards at a table for a draft, or not for a draft, just each person had bought a booster box and they were just opening cards to see what they would get. And I recall that there was a large stack on the side of the table, and I went up to them and said, hey, what are these cards in the stack doing? And they said, oh, we're going to throw those out. If you want any of them, you can take it. They literally, they took the concept of trash commons literally.
Yeah. See you later, Skull King Zachart.
I'll see you, Skull.
But yeah, I literally had this happen to me when I was at Locals. I was building Speedroids, and I just didn't have most of the cards. But the new set, Synchro Storm, had come out, and somebody just had a big stack of commons. I was like, hey, can I look through there and get any Speedroids? He's like, yeah, sure, take them, please.
Really?
Yeah.
And so that's exactly it, right? It's like, Garch and I, we've grown up in an era and we've seen this stuff. You've seen this stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a genius to realize, I don't think I want people literally throwing out my game's cards if they don't like them.
Yeah. And think of the toll on the environment. Think of the toll on your money, and the money of your customers.
Yeah.
Just it doesn't make any sense, logistically speaking.
Yeah. And so, really, and especially we see this, and we see the effects on the environment, we see the effects on customers, and it's just not fair for anyone to just have to throw out card after card after card trying to get something that you want. And it's just so then back to Jamie. He says, they say number two, you're not doing a trading card game because morally you disagree with it, because having people opening pack after pack after pack is just not something that you, a modern person, would be okay with. And I agree. Like, I don't. In retrospect, that definitely wasn't. And they say, number 3, you're not doing a trading card game because they're going out of style. And then they give me some numbers and they explain me through it. But pretty much like starting up a trading card game, like the last time that a trading card game was successfully released and actually had any footing, it was this game I believe called I think it was Blood. What was it?
Flesh and Blood.
Flesh and Blood. Bingo.
Yeah.
And that game was considered a successful TCG release, and Jamie described its Discord as moderately active. So if the most successful TCG release in like a decade was a game that is moderately active, like probably as active as your Roblox Army Club Discord group, maybe that's telling about that it's not a great idea to try and start one.
Yeah, my locals did Flesh and Blood for like a couple of weeks, and I think it just died away. It's I don't quite understand the business model of Flesh and Blood because they're very determined not to have an online space. They want this collectible aspect of it, and I've seen videos of them like they make these promos and they sell the promos, and if they don't sell all the promos, they take the other promos and like record themselves shredding them.
What?
It's like, well, okay. I mean, I guess it protects everyone's investment if that's what you're caring about.
Investment.
Yeah, like card games as investment is like a big thing.
Yeah,
here.
that's why I get into playing fun games so I can sell them.
Yeah,
right. And it's just and then you compound all of that on the top with, at the end of the day, we are a Kickstarter, and our funding goal is not massive. We don't need $1 million to make this game. We just need to, people who want it in their hands, we can get it in their hands. Cool, we're done.
Yeah.
So like, if we were a trading card game, I mean, we wouldn't have a secondary market. I mean, unless we, go wacky MetaZoo levels, but I don't think I want to be like MetaZoo. So
no. It doesn't seem very fun. Like I don't feel like the guy in charge of MetaZoo is having fun anymore.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's really the thing. It's just like
the shareholders are having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. but that's exactly it, right? It's like the reason that I make games is because I want to make something that is fun and fresh and new and exciting, and nothing to do with opening card packs or secondary markets is really the kind of fun that I'm looking for. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people enjoy like, the price of this card's going up, it's going down, but that's not the kind of fun that I'm after, right?
It's just a stock market.
It's just a stock market.
Like the fun of opening card packs is the same fun of pulling on a slot machine. Exactly.
Bingo.
So like it's something you can do without, unless you have a severe gambling addiction, in which case you should see a therapist.
Really. And it's like, I mean, and I was talking with Jamie, and they're like, at the end of the day, trading card games inspired the gacha model.
Yeah.
And if you want to go down that road, then I mean, you can go down that road, but that's your choice, and you have to be able to stand tall and say, "Yep, I'm pretty much going down the gacha road." Yeah. And I don't think that that's the right path for anyone.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And that's one of the things I asked about when we were first talking, and I was like, yeah, this is like I want to know what's going on. And I think if you were a TCG, I probably would have still like done it, but I would have had some like questions about that. That would have come up here. But yeah, I like
obviously
it would be an interrogation more than an interview.
Tell me, what is the chance of getting the coolest card in the pack? It's proprietary information. Tell me, puts the light in your face. 10%. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so I guess another thing to talk about is like what do you call this? Because LCG is a protected term of Fantasy Flight.
Yeah, right. So this came up with Jamie as well, and they're like, well, pretty much you're making an LCG. Although, we're kind of making an LCG, but also kind of not. See, the plan that I currently have for expansions is, I know Netrunner is another. That's a game that for a long time had the LCG model where they just released big boxes of new cards.
Yep.
But one thing that I want to do, if we get to do expansions, that other games, I can't think of any other kind of game in the category that's really done this, is I really want to have each box have something fresh and new. And I don't just mean related to cards. See, in the first box, we've got some space in the box for a board and rules and tokens, and that's stuff, right? Yeah. But once you own the core set, you don't need another board and another rules and another tokens because you already have all of that.
Yeah.
So we now have empty space in the box. Now we could fill that empty space with, come and get an alternate board. But I mean, come on, like maybe we can sell those separately, but they sure as heck don't need to be in the box. I don't want to make people have to buy a cosmetic for their board.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But what we can put in that space is the components for an alternate game mode or a new way to play. See, for the first expansion, if we get to do one, I keep saying that because I don't want to come across as we're guaranteed. No, I really hope we get there.
Promise something we can't achieve.
Yeah, exactly. I really hope we get there. But if we get to do one, I want to include a single player / co-op roguelike mode where you get to play with your Cobblecritters and you build a deck as you fight AI,
like a boss creature,
AI bosses or AI armies of critters.
Yeah.
And I already have it planned out. It's just that in order to actually do it, it would need more tokens. I want to have a currency, and you'd have little gold coins to count up those. But the whole idea, right, is that this is that if each box had a new way to play the game, that it would be more than just a living card game, right? It would be continually shifting and changing. It's like you could play Cobblecritters for Cobblecritters, or for this game mode, or for that game mode, or for this with this special rule set, or with that. And every single every single box would be more than just, more cards. It's more cards and this exciting new thing.
Yeah.
And so I think I mean, technically we would, a living card game, I think, is a pretty accurate way to describe the game. But my intent is to do more than just, live, right? It's to keep moving off in different directions. So we haven't quite come up with a term for that yet. If you
TCG, a thriving card game.
Thriving. Oh, that's definitely not confusing.
just pronounce it as the CG.
The CG. The CG. It's the only CG.
It's the only one allowed now in this new dictatorship.
Cobblecritters 1984.
I think that's a really cool idea. I've definitely seen some card games that do a boss rush kind of deal, but usually that's the focus of the card game, as opposed to an alternate play style.
Tell them about the raid boss.
Oh yeah, are you familiar with our raid boss mode?
I have seen a couple of streams about a raid boss. I think I've seen the info pop up.
For anyone who in the audience isn't familiar, a raid boss mode, it's a mode where pretty much Austin draws a critter with the chat's suggestions, and then we surprise the chat by turning that into a raid boss, and then all of us together fight the raid boss and try to take it down. It's a really exciting mode. We keep winning by the slimmest hairs.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's very fun.
I remember the first time chat thought that I was bribing certain people into saying certain keywords and whatnot.
Yeah, you could easily turn all the raid bosses you're making on stream into little.
Yeah, in fact, that's actually something that we intend to do for the final game. Maybe as a stretch goal, maybe not. Depends on how hard it is to get these things set up. But we want to make it so that anyone who gets the game can just print out the raid boss mat and just play with the stuff they already have.
Yeah.
Once they if you have the box of the game, all you need to do is print out the boss and you're good to go.
Oh, that's really cool. I really like the way you've got this set up. I really like the game. I'm not being paid to say any of this shit. I speak my mind here.
Thanks.
This is really cool.
As I slide a 5 under the table.
Thank you.
Here's 5 shiny Cavern crystals for you.
The payment is that they let me win. That's how I got that win.
Victory is its own reward.
The deck was stacked.
Give you the unnerfed Cactual with 8 health.
But yeah, I think this is really cool. I don't know what else to say. I think I really enjoy it. I hope you succeed. Anything? I'm blanking on other questions I might want to ask, but anything you want to say, just on your own?
Ooh, I got one. Do you have any fun ideas for a critter?
Ooh, hey, hey.
Well, I like bats.
Vampire,
I
hey,
see.
hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we
Uh,
already got that base covered.
but um, ask how many times Jimmy has lost.
Oh no. Gee, Gus, I'm getting a phone call right now. I'm just gonna. I might not have the best win-loss record, but just you wait till I pull
Especially
out my.
considering he's usually the guy that shows off the game.
Yeah. Well, look. Okay. Okay. So.
Coping, Andy. Coping.
I'm not coping. It's just they keep having combos that I don't expect, and it's good to see new combos.
Says the
And
guy that
also,
makes the
how do
decks.
they keep beating me?
Says the guy that made the beginner decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, like no, I played against Hasher, and Hasher just like has always is in the wrong position at the right time. I swear, I'm a certified Cobblecritters tame bird.
As far as creature ideas, like, do you have one that like heals itself when it does damage?
Ooh, like a life-stealing
I
critter. You
love
know
I
what?
love life
That's
steals.
very thematically appropriate.
Yes, I.
Okay, see,
Um,
okay, my
oh,
original design of
Pound cake.
Axle Throttle. My original design of
Ah.
Axle Throttle was exactly that before
Oh
we
yeah, that was it. The
reworked
problem
it.
though is that the max health would have had to been too low, and it would have just gotten one shot.
Hmm.
But we do have a special card called Pound Cake that whenever you attack, you restore one health. But we don't have a critter that does that, and so I think that would be
Ooh.
quite appropriate.
All right, there's my idea for you then.
Hey, hey.
It's not an animal idea. It's a mechanic idea, which I guess makes sense for me.
Ooh, like a zombie would be cool for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, like a zombie,
Zambi.
undead, something to
Fitting,
that. Zambi.
fitting on that horror theme.
Yeah.
Garch wants to make Cobblecritters a scary 18 plus R-rated game with real super. Guys, usually every copy of Cobblecritters is personalized. I opened my box, and inside of Cobblecritters, all I found were hyper realistic bloods.
Bloods.
Sonic.exe, the card game. Oh, I did want to ask about the meta. What does the meta look like for this game?
Ruby
Yes.
Cutlass, Ruby Cutlass, Ruby Cutlass.
Meta currently, but just because that there's a bit of monkey see monkey do going on, but that is how the meta works.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of juicy mega kill 'em fast aggro. We've got Cactual plus Sapphire Spear, Honey Hunter going everywhere, Ruby Cutlass. Now all of these are the problem is that everyone likes playing aggro. We don't have many players who are super excited to play control, not because control is boring per se, just because everyone comes from a aggro background.
Hmm.
Um, and so we're looking into trying out some more defensive strategies and seeing how they stack up. But right now, the big cards: Cactual, Ruby Cutlass, Honey Hunter is a fan favorite. Honey Hunt, yeah, Cactual there. Honey Hunter, big favorite, giving your guys piercing, not having to worry about defense. We've got one player, Poke, and he's been a fantastic player. He's helped come up with card ideas, done a lot of play testing, broken at least 4 strategies. He's a really awesome guy. I gave him this role called Game Breaker just because of how awesome he is. And it's so funny. He plays so much Honey Hunter that sometimes he forgets defense even exists as a stat.
Oh my god.
And then he'll get into a position where he doesn't have Honey Hunter, completely like, oh, I'm just gonna attack for 3 with my Cactual. It's like, no, I've got 2 defense. You deal 1 damage, and he's like, what?
That's so funny. So the meta is very, like you said, very very aggro focused here.
Yes, at the
Um,
moment.
at the moment. So what are like is there anything else that's going on that's interesting as far as that goes?
Yeah. Why don't you pull up the special deck real quick, and I'll talk about something that another interesting thing. So special deck, just on the right there, yeah.
Searcheroni?
So I'm watching your stream through Twitch, so it's a little bit
Let
delayed for
me
me.
here. I could just I think I could just stream it to
Oh yeah, that'd be
the two of
fantastic.
you
Then I can see
directly.
it.
There we go.
Awesome. So yeah, so a big question right now is how do you get your critters into the cavern if your opponent has control of the cavern? So
Mm.
if your opponent's got like, oh, he's got a big old Crystallion, Toxosaurus standing next to it, and you got knocked out of the cavern, you retreated, you healed up, and you're ready to go back in, what do you do? of course, you could just move up, but then you let your opponent get the first strike in. That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
So, big question is, what movement cards do you use? What is Call the Heroes? Yeah, yeah. Correlating decks Call the Heroes. So, if you look at card number 5 in order there, so that is Call the Heroes. This one's a favorite. It's very reliable. As long as you've got less guys in the cavern than your opponent, you get some free exhaust list shifts. So you just get to move, and then you can follow it up with an attack or whatever,
Yeah.
or even mine if you're insane. Problem with Call the Heroes, of course, is that your opponent. It says your opponent may do the same, so your opponent gets to shift 2 of their critters.
Yeah.
So oftentimes you don't want to give your opponent that response. So maybe you'll make use of Secret Passage if you just scroll down a little bit. It's let's see, where is it? Number 27.
27.
The Secret Passage there, as you can see, it's not an ultra, so you can play it and then you'll follow up with an Inner Fury or something.
Mm-hmm.
But the downside, and also you get to teleport, so anywhere you want on your board. Downside is that you have to discard a copy of it. So oftentimes you need to be running Battle Partner or Fresh Bait, some kind of enabler like that that will let you fish out that second copy of the
Aha.
critter to actually activate the Secret Passage. Of course, then if you can actually use it, then quite the teleport.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
You've also got Run for Shelter, which you can use to force your opponent, number 22. You can use to force your opponent out of the cavern. If they've got, something strong in there, you can make them take something out of the cavern if they can.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last move, and then there's also like Vaudeville Cane is a bit of a curious option if your opponent's playing defensively. Then it's a bit of a tech pick that you can use to yoink one of their critters out of the hideout if they're being a bit scared to get in the limelight.
Aha.
So yeah, kind of the question of how do you move your and your opponent's critters? There's a lot of different answers to it, and right now we're kind of seeing that developing. Right now we're seeing people, pull out in different directions, trying out. What if, could I use Secret Passage? Is it how hard really is it to get that second copy of an allied critter? Stuff like that. So that's really where the meta is developing right now. Although I am interested in starting a defense/control revolution.
Yeah. I will say I was playing the healing deck when I was playing by myself with my friend, and I was I was having a good time with that.
Healing is very fun, yeah.
It was I was just sitting there mining and healing and mining and healing. It was gross.
Yeah. What was your opponent playing? The Stalwart deck, I assume?
Let's see. That one they were actually playing the aggro deck.
Really?
The hunter.
Oh, okay. We might need to put a bit more to it because the whole job of the aggro deck is to get through the healing deck. It's meant to be a direct counter. So if they were having some trouble, then
yeah. To be fair, it was like our second time playing it, so
okay.
Probably wasn't optimal strategies from either of us, but I pick up on card games pretty quick. So, but yeah, the meta evolving around this is very interesting to me. I look forward to seeing it as it develops further.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're planning on having a free entry cash tournament soon, just partially as a fun, thanks for being an awesome community here. Let's have a fun tournament with free prizes. You can get all sorts of, like obviously there's like, money as one of the prizes we're planning, but also like having Austin draw you a critter.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But and it's also partially we want to do the tournament before we launch the game because we want everyone to bring their strongest strategies because hey, you're playing for cash, so you better bring whatever the best thing you can find is.
Yeah.
We want to see everyone bring in their strongest strategies to see if anything is too much or overpowered.
For sure. I do actually want to talk about one thing regarding
Please.
game mechanics, going back all the way to actually talking about the game itself. The moving mechanics is actually fairly unique for a card game. There's not many that do it. And a lot of them that do it use cards as the board, and that just doesn't really work. You just have a board.
That's right. Although I had a player, Skulking Zackert, who was in chat earlier, printed out the cards physically for a test because we wanted to make sure that the cards actually worked in real life.
Yeah.
And he just played on a standard blank, 14 by 24 neoprene mat, and just was like, okay, well, my deck will be on the far right side of my board, and I'll put this object on the far left side of my board. And they were able to play without a proper grid.
Yeah.
So I think 4 might be kind of the magic number for not so many spaces that you can't tell where things are without a grid,
but enough to make it
but enough to make it interesting.
strategized.
Because if it was 3 by 3, if it was 3 wide, I think it would be a little bit boring with the movement.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, 4 wide though. I think that's the magic number. It used to be 6 wide, and that was
Ooh.
quite something.
Yeah, no, I can see that for sure. I actually really like it. I think it's a really neat way to differentiate yourself
like
from
it.
other card games.
Yeah, I think the reason I especially like it is just having the division between the hideout and the caverns. I just love the feeling of, oh no, I've been knocked out of the caverns. Dang it, now they're spending all these turns mining while I get everything back together. But then you have that turn where you just, like a military general with a big old stick, just push all your guys across the map.
Yeah.
Just shove the caverns. I just love doing that so much.
Yeah.
I don't know, in my opinion, it's one of the most fun moments in the game. And for both players, it's like once that happens, like every time it's like, put your hands on the table, sit up, lean back, and you're like, oh ho ho, now we're playing.
Yeah. And that's actually leads into something else I want to talk about, which is catch-up mechanics. Like you've got a lot in here. The hideout, the draw until you have a certain number of cards, the being able to draw from both decks, so you have the critters and the specials separated. Those are all, like, to me, those are all catch-up mechanics. Like, they help people who get behind come back. And I really like that kind of design. One of my favorite things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels is the drawing mechanic in it, because it just helps you get right back into the game when you get your board cleared. And it slows down the opponent because they can't play as many cards. So yeah, like talk to me, like how you came up with these these catch-up mechanics.
So I think I'd like to start with the hand stuff. So the idea behind allowing players to draw critters or specials is that when you are behind, when your board's been wiped, you need critters. When you are ahead, oftentimes specials are better for you because you already have the critters down and you want to power up those critters by giving them trinkets, by having the hijinks available to power them up even further. And so originally, the game, all your cards were in one deck. And they had a uniform card back because, that was just kind of the obvious way of doing it.
Yeah.
But what we found was that you'd have a player who would get ahead, and they would, have all this board presence, and the losing player would just not be able to draw any critters. They just wouldn't fish up a 1-star. And I guess that's really the problem, because in this game, you need to have 1-stars to get going, and then you need 2s, and then you need 3s. And if those are diluted in a deck that also has your specials in it, then upgrading becomes massively more difficult.
Yeah.
What that means is that if the other player gets ahead and knocks you down, they wipe your board or kick you out of the caverns and you need to upgrade, it's going to take so much longer to find your upgrades and your 1-stars that your opponent will pull way too far ahead. So we thought, what if we make it easier to fish out those cards, so that the player who is behind can find them, so that they can actually, they don't have to wade through a half deck of specials just to find their 1-star critters somewhere mixed among it.
Yeah.
So by splitting it up, all you end up with is you ask the player, it's not how many critters, how many specials. That is a question, but it's if you're behind, all you have to worry about is what are the ratios you decided for your critter deck. Did you put in too many 2 and 3 stars? All right, well, you're not going to find 1-stars, but you draw so fast that if you draw a full 6-card hand and don't find a 1-star in your critter deck, at that point, it might really just be your fault.
Yeah. That's actually another mechanic I didn't show in our game, is that you can just discard cards at the end of turn.
Yeah, and then that is a big mechanic too. To be able to rapidly kind of pull the slot machine level at every card in your hand. Like, if you're not happy with what you've got, you can just re-roll everything.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of a separate thing, not entirely related to catch-up mechanics. That's more just about the pace and feel of the game. Originally, again, it was as is standard in card games, it was your old draw 1 per turn type game. And the problem with that, though, was that we got into a thing where it became very top decky, where you would just every turn became draw the top card, play the top card, and then fight, and then there was nothing else you could do. And so turns started feeling bland because there wasn't much maneuvering you could do. I mean, it was like you would. I mean, short of adding a whole bunch of draw effects, but then that got confusing. All you could do was just, pray that you top deck the right card for the situation you were in, and it made players feel like that they weren't really preparing for fights, just slipping through them by luck.
Yeah.
The
Draw
idea though
power
is
is a very dangerous mechanic
exactly,
to put into a game. Like
exactly,
draw
and
spells.
so
Yeah.
right. Especially if it's limited, because if you don't get those, then your opponent will just card advantage you to heck him back. So
Yeah.
we took a step back and we were like, what if we drew cards faster? And so then we tried drawing 2 cards per turn, but it still just became it was just 2 random cards that might save you or might not.
Yeah.
And so we thought, well, what if we let players decide how many they draw by letting them choose to discard and then going back to a full hand? Because then the question is, let's say that I'm holding a suplex belt, and what I want isn't a suplex belt. I just want a thistle missile because I only need to do 1 damage, and I don't want to damage. If you're holding onto that suplex belt, you get an interesting question where it's, do you keep this suplex belt and be guaranteed that you can get done what you want to get done, or do you discard it and try and roll for that better card? I feel like that's a lot more interesting decision because you get into a risk reward thing, and it means that you're not just top decking to get lucky and get the thing you need. If you do decide to go in the top deck world, oftentimes it's a conscious decision if you've built your deck in a kind of a more reliable way.
Yeah.
The question becomes, it's not do you want to do it, but how well do you want to do it? And I think that is a lot more interesting for a player to parse because it lets them play with greed. It lets them say, I can do it, but I could also do better. And am I willing to give up the potential to do it for the potential to do it even better?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really exciting decision, and I just feel like it's also kind of in theme, the game being very goofy and wild and wacky, having players kind of get cross-eyed with greed and give up what they have, trying to get something better and then not get it. I think that's really funny
and
and
it's
really
fast
fun.
paced, which I feel matches the art style.
Exactly. Yes.
It's cohesion of art and theme and gameplay.
Right on. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's the all to do with the hand. Hideout versus Cavern, that was partially I originally the objective of the game, I wanted the game to not be about dealing damage to an opponent like hero.
Yeah.
Legends of Runeterra, Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! The objective of all of these games, aside for, the occasional deck out, is to make your opponents make your opponent's like character's life go to 0. And, and being a weird and wacky game, it was kind of always about doing things different. And so the idea was originally to win the game, all you had to do was have 4 critters in the cavern. Although originally it was actually 6, so the board was 6 wide, so you have to have 6 critters in the cavern. But the trick was that each spot, so like each column could only fit 1 critter in it from each player, or rather, or 1 critter from either player, should I say? So the idea is it was kind of about snowballing your opponent out of the cavern.
Yeah.
Where you would knock down 1 and then take their spot, and then they would try and knock that spot out. The problem, of course, was that games would go back and forth forever because it was a king of the hill, and you would just go back and forth, and no one would really. There was no clear winner. You just kind of one person would get pushed back, then the other person would get pushed back. So we changed it to crystals. So now it's more of a king of the hill thing where you want to get in the caverns, you want to kick out your opponent, and then you want to use the free time you've got to mine to pull ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, just the actual scoring mechanism as a catch-up mechanic, you can't win a game of Cobblecritters in 1 turn, or 2 turns, or 3 turns, or 5 turns. I would say, I mean, short of things like Ruby Cutlass, where you can kind of cheat in a couple extra crystals, it takes at least 10 turns to win the game.
Yeah.
And that's intentional because it means that even if your opponent absolutely stomps you, they obliterate all of your critters, you can still come back because you can prepare the hideout at little risk. And then you can move back up when you're ready. And yes, your opponent will have some time to mine, but if they're mining, they're not upgrading. And if they're not upgrading, and you are, well, cream gravy, you've got a stronger army now.
and like you have this situation where you're allowed to play. Like there's never an opportunity where you get to do this turn 1 setup that prevents your opponent from playing the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think that's a problem with a lot of card games. It's not just a Yu-Gi-Oh issue. It's a card game issue, where eventually you have this setup where you can make this turn one board that is impossible to destroy, and it just snowballs from there.
Yeah.
And you've sort of made it basically impossible for that to be the case.
Yeah, it's. I
It'd be
mean,
very
you
hard.
can make. Yeah, I mean, like, of course, you can have a good board,
Yeah.
right? But using tools like Call of the Heroes and Secret Passage and Old Switcheroo, there's a lot of ways to come back from the brink, sneak in, get a big hit in, and have your opponent not be able to effectively retaliate. Now, of course, if your opponent has blown you up and they have 16 crystals, okay, they're probably going to win the game because they need 4 to win the 20 crystal game, right?
I should also mention that we played a
hmm?
quick version, the quick
Yes.
rules, which was 10 crystals, but the real version is 20 crystals, so it takes a little longer to get there.
And that actually is the score limit is actually another catch-up mechanic, because when you play to 10, usually what happens is one person gets knocked out of the cavern and that's game. So you have an early game scuffle, someone gets kicked, and then it's over.
Yeah.
But when you play to 20, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, or you have the case with me where I was like able to just go, okay, well, I've done enough, mine too.
Exactly. Right. But when you're in a 20 crystal game, if you have your opponent saying, all right, well, I kicked you out of the caverns once, I'll just start mining. You have enough time for the person who got kicked out to get everything back together, get back in, and beat back their opponent within the time limit imposed by the crystals.
Yeah.
And so that's where you find that, a lot of games get, down to, 4 or 5 crystals where you'll have, 15, 20. I think that's a pretty good gap between the winner and loser.
Yeah.
And 15, 20, I mean, the 5 crystal gap there. But that's a catch-up mechanic, and it's kind of a shame because whenever I play with a new player, we always do a 10 crystal game because it's a good introductory game.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really capture the whole idea of, hey, you can retreat and it can be okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's really that's a big thing in this game that I can't think of any other game that does that, where you can take your critters out of the line of fire, get them prepared to fight again, and then go back in. Because
if you do that in Pokemon, you can, but it's so often just like such a loss of momentum.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, sure, I mean, you lose cavern presence, but then there's tools to get back in, like Call the Heroes and Secret Passages and Snowmobile and all that kind of stuff. So, it's the idea that retreating, that running away can be a valid decision. I think is one of the most special things that this game has.
Yeah.
I think it's really unique. I don't think any other game quite does it, and you don't really get it in the 10 crystal mode, because in 10 crystal it just kind of ends once someone gets booted.
Yeah.
So that's why for the tournament we're going to be doing best of 20 crystal games, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. One thing I really like about the way you set up your equalizer cards is that they're designed in such a way that they're usable when you're behind. They're not really as good when you're in the lead, which is like a problem that Yu-Gi-Oh has. They keep making these equalizer cards that are good when you're in the lead too. It's like one such card that people like to debate about, Maxi, the hand trap where you get to draw a card every time your opponent special summons, and it's like, oh, it's a check against combo because then they can't combo. But did you know that combo can also play Maxi? There's not a rule against it. So it's like, all the catch-up cards are playable by both sides, and it's like, but here they're like balanced in such a way, like with Call of the Heroes, where it's, you have to have less stuff in the caverns.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a really like heads up game design.
Yeah. I mean, it's just movement in general. Kind of, if you're in the caverns, you usually don't move much. You just attack and mine, or maybe upgrade them a little bit. And if you're losing, then that's when you really use the movement stuff. So a lot of the movement cards in the game, it's kind of good because movement cards are catch-up, but they're catch-up that the winning player doesn't really want to use. So we can make the movement cards pretty good, like Secret Passage, just teleporting a critter. We can make them pretty good and not worry too much about it because the winning player probably isn't going to want to do that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really heads up.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool. Uh, I think the way you use movement in general is just like I gotta be honest, I was a little skeptical when I saw there was movement involved. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be moving cards. Oh boy. Um, but I think it actually works out very elegantly. It's like it's pretty minimal, but it's impactful. Like when you do it, you
Yes.
want to do it. You don't want to. You're not like I gotta move the cards again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I'll just move this over. And I guess it's
Hmm.
easier in tabletop sim than it would be in paper, but still,
Yeah.
I think the way you've done it is pretty well done.
Thanks.
Um, but yeah, um, trying to think if there's anything else. Um,
Yeah.
it's like Garfield.
Wait, what?
Garge, he loves drawing the critter static cat as Garfield.
I adore that. I'm a big
For a long,
Garfield
long
fan.
time, my account name was Garchfield, and everyone got it confused because they're like, "Where's this Garchompula
Yeah,
person?"
where's Garchompula? Who's Garchfield?
Oh, it's
Garch.
so good.
I'm not sure if we can have that. That is a little bit too Garfy for me, my friend. We might get sued with that.
No, we won't. Jim Davis is a nice old man.
Uh-huh. Sounds likely.
I don't know.
Take a second, think about it.
Yeah. So yeah. Talk to me about the Kickstarter. Let's do
Yes.
that.
So yeah, pretty much the idea is pretty straightforward. It's just you can on the Kickstarter it's going to be I think late August probably.
Right.
I think if things go to plan, which I reckon they will.
Mhm.
I mean, at this point, I think I've already I'm talking with all the people who make a game real, like producers, fulfillment, distributors, all that kind of junk.
Mhm.
And it's all coming together nicely. So all that's sorted. At this point, the only thing that really that we really need to wait on is feeling confident that it would actually succeed, which means people interested in the game.
Yeah.
Um, and so I mean, I don't. I think that's really the only reason that we would delay the launch is just, oh, let's give it a bit more time for people to, give feedback on it and be interested in it and all that. Um,
Mhm.
and so yeah, the idea pretty much is late August, and all that it's just going to be, you can go there, and there's going to be a pledge tier to get a printable version of the game if you just want to print it out on your own printer and play in real life. There's going to be a get a box that has the game. There's
Mhm.
going to be a get a box that has the game and some other fun stuff, kind of like a deluxe. Think like a neoprene mat, 14 by 24 inch,
Ooh.
and like an envelope with like a little like some goodies like stickers and an enamel pin and signed cards and cool stuff like that.
Very cool.
And there's going to be pledge tiers to get two of those. Pledge tier to uh, like design your own critter. We find that was a big favorite. People really like pledge tiers where they can design their own critter. So we're going to have like a one of one design your own critter thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple. I don't think there's going to be any add-ons or anything. You just go over if you're interested. You get the game. That's a lot
Yeah.
of it.
That sounds
Yeah,
simple enough. I'll
yeah. And
definitely be
of
taking
course,
a look.
we do have like stretch goals, but they're pretty simple. Just like better card quality, more cards in the simple, just those little things like that. Kind of want to give the best game we can, um,
Yeah.
with what we have. But if we have the money to like, with how mass production works, if we have the money to give people, cool, foil or probably not foil, but there's like a economic or a environmental thing to do with foil where it has plastic in it, so you lose this kind of environmental certification. But
Mm.
that's just kind of boring nuts and bolts. But as for
Yeah.
if we have the money to put cool like alternate art, guest artist stuff in the box, well, heck, we will because that's awesome.
Yeah. That'd be really cool. I was actually
All
literally
right.
about to ask about
Mm,
foil. So I'm glad to
yes.
go ahead and
Yeah. We like want to have a foil hip hopper. Don't get me wrong, we totally do too. But yeah, if you use foil that is plastic, so there's an environmental certification that's a big deal in Europe. and it's essentially your game has to be compostable and recyclable. And if we had holofoil cards, it would cease to be recyclable, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah. Yeah. I do wonder, since you're not doing trading cards, so you don't have to worry about like pack weights and everything. That's like a big thing that the big trading card games have to worry about, is like people weighting packs. I wonder if there's like some sort of environmentally friendly way to do it. I have no idea. I just I like a shiny card.
I mean, yeah. So do I.
I am not immune to shiny card. But yeah, no, I think that's really cool. Yeah, make sure to check out the Discord if you like the game. Garchompula has linked it there. I will link it in the description of this VOD if you're watching this later. Join the Discord, play games, check it out. See, you can download this right now and play it on Tabletop Sim if you have that. But other ways people can reach it.
Yep.
So yeah, is there any other way?
I don't have anything.
Was there?
Oh, Screentop GG is the other main way.
Oh yeah, there's also like a free, like you don't even need to download anything. You just go on a website and play.
Yeah.
It's not as fancy though, but I mean, it's the same game. You can still build your decks and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, any last other thoughts? Any way to stretch this? Guys. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Any way to stretch this to 3 hours? No.
Yeah. Pretty much what we can now do is read off the names of every critter in every language. Axolotl. Axolotl.
Actually, that's a really good thing. What are you doing about languages?
Yeah. So the problem is, man. I really like.
We don't.
I really want to do more languages because I think that obviously it's more accessibility. That's fantastic for everyone. But the way production works is every time that you do like, I want to do a new language, they charge it separately.
So it's just double.
And so you, like for example, let's say we have 10 people in Spain who want a Spanish version of the game. We literally, there's no producer on earth who would give us a reasonable price on that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a real shame. But I mean, again, if the game does well and totally have. I mean, I personally know Spanish, so I would love to translate the game to Spanish. That would be really fun.
Yeah. I think that's like a big barrier for a small team to get over.
Pretty much any team, frankly.
Yeah, like if you're not backed by NFT money, like a MetaZoo.
Non-NFTs, big evil dollars.
Although I don't think MetaZoo's in different languages either. I think they just have the one. But yeah, if you don't have that kind of money behind you, I don't see it being easy to do that kind of thing. But I figured I'd ask just to make sure. But yeah, it's been great. Again, really, really like. I think you've got the three things here. You've got the design, you got the art, you got the player base.
Yeah, that's what Karen and I was saying the other day. It's like they either have absolutely top-notch gameplay and the art is just garbage.
Oh, you mean it's in a lot of games? Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, I definitely I can see where Kieran was coming from.
Or they're the exact opposite. Like the art is really adorable and really attractive, but the gameplay is just not fun to sit through.
Yeah, yeah. I've played Weisschwarz, which is the anime. Character, your characters from your favorite anime are here, and I did not like the game. I thought it was abysmal to play.
It's very funny. It's like a lot of times with games they try and let the characters or the art style kind of replace actually having solid community given game design. Where they just just make a game that works.
Yeah. That's where you end up with most of the Star Wars TCGs.
Hey, there you go.
Most of those are not good. But yeah, I think you've managed to get kind of the three things you need to have a success. So I hope you do. I hope you do succeed.
Thanks.
I'll definitely be checking out the Kickstarter.
It's always nice to hear.
I'll definitely be checking out the Kickstarter when that goes live. and I hope that we can do more stuff like this at some point. I don't know necessarily a whole stream, but like we could we'll talk.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
our tournament's always around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the
yeah.
tournament, like the hope for the tournament. There's definitely a lot of people, streamers and players, and just everyone.
Yeah.
Who's going to be participating in that. We expect it to be pretty large.
I need to
So,
get into the deck building before I do any tournaments. I have not tried the deck building yet.
I mean, now's definitely the time. Like if you get into deck building now, by the time the tournament comes around, I think the game will probably still be fresh in your memory because it's just a couple weeks away from now.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this project. Anything else?
I honestly think that is it.
I think that's it.
Not, yeah.
Anything to plug?
We have literally covered everything.
Yeah.
We have discussed everything about Cobble. We now know literally everything.
We do know everything.
You can make the game for us now. You know that much.
Sorry, bye. We're going on vacation to Hawaii. Too hard. Have fun. You know everything.
I do. So obviously we have the Discord. Where else can people find you?
The Discord is the main place at the moment, but we're also on Twitter, just at Cobblecritters. The Discord, though, I would say is the absolute best place if you're looking to start, because we have our community there. They're willing to help people. They're willing to help people get the ropes. The Twitter is pretty much just like, hey, check out this thing I did.
Yeah. I've
been lurking in the Discord for a while because that's what I tend to do. I tend to lurk in Discord rather than actually interact. But it's definitely exactly as you described. A lot of people looking to play card games with their friends that they've made in this server. So if you want
it's weird. Some of my closest friends came from this project.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to Toronto to see Austin and go to this game convention, and we met entirely online.
Yeah. That's the magic of card games. That's what Kazuki Takahashi was talking about. But yeah. And do you two want to plug your individual Twitters or no?
Nah, I mean, I have one, but I'm more interested in just
that's totally fine. So yeah, this has been the first episode of Card Corner. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to check out Cobblecritters. I think it's a winner. Definitely.
We got the vampires approvals.
Hey.
You must be doing something.
See, all right, we got okay, 7 league, right? Aquatic people, we got vampire approval, we got prehistoric people, we got
I'll give you import approval into my empire, which is my house.
Yes,
next
import
we need to hit
tax
the moon.
benefits.
Is there any streamers on the moon?
I might know one. I'll let you know. But yeah, thank you both for coming and doing this with me. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had fun as well. Been a very interesting chat. I think this has been a lot of good informative stuff for everyone. And yeah, let's head over to the chatting scene and wrap it up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. I hope you had a great time. Thanks again to Garchampula and Jimmy for joining me. Thank you both so much. This was a lot of fun. For those of you who are wanting to stick around and see more of me, tomorrow at 9 p.m., I'm doing my Pretty Good Deck series where I take a look at Master Duel decks and I show you something that's not meta, but is good enough to get you through gold rank, probably platinum now. And we're playing Lyrilisks, which is funny little birds. So come and watch that. I also have streams on Friday, Dragon Quest and Fire Emblem. Dragon Quest is at 3 on Snippet's channel, Snippet Clipper. And Fire Emblem is at 10 here with my girlfriend. We're going to play. It's Friday nights. It's a series we do. And then Sunday is Sunday Stream Series where I'm playing.
Fun name.
Yeah, it's a great
Friday
name.
night.
And then we have Sunday stream series on Sunday. That's 10 p.m. I'm playing Pokéduel, which is Pokemon Fire Red, but they replaced all the Pokemon with Yu-Gi-Oh monsters. It's really silly.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tune into that.
It's a lot of fun. It also frustrates me, but it's a lot of fun. I have some clips on my channel of me going like feral off of the pot of greed jokes. I can't stand them anymore. Just too many. But yeah, I'm gonna send you on over to my other partner, Morphe. Morphe is playing Hollow Knight right now. So have a good time over there. When you get over there, be kind and courteous. That's all I ask. And I'll catch you all in the next. Oh, silly me. Socials. Duh. Gotta do socials. Oop, that's not the right command. Socials. There we go. You can find my card. That's like my website. On it, you'll find my Twitter, where I post funny ha-has, my Facebook, where I post when I'm going live, my YouTube, where I post all the VODs and other videos that I do, including this VOD here, my Patreon, where you can contribute to me on a monthly basis to help support the channel. You also have my tip link and my throne wish list if you want to give me gifts, and my TCG Player affiliate link if you want to buy any card games, card game accessories, single sealed, all that stuff that you find on TCG Player. You can use my link, and it'll help support the channel while you get the stuff that you want. You can also join my Discord. It's a fun time. I hang out, I post memes, and I also host Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments from there sometimes. And Haru is like hosting like movie nights and stuff or something like that. So yeah, check out the Discord. That's everything. I'm going to send you over to Morphe. Be kind and courteous. All that jazz. I'll catch you in the next one. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to others. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
That was fun.